Below the 12 sword peaks runs a spirit vein, causing these 12 mountain peaks to be rich in spiritual energy, with lush vegetation and pavilions and towers scattered between them, creating a picturesque and poetic scenery. However, such beauty has now been shattered by man. Rumble. Amidst the thunderous sound, the 12 sword peaks raised an arc of light barrier, covering the entire mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance's mountain gate, causing ripples like water to spread out. This is because, above the sky, the red shining immortal palace from the Fire Cloud Palace is hovering, launching an attack on the mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance from above. The sunlight refracts on the red shining immortal palace. This palace of over 1 million square meters continuously absorbs the sun's mighty power and the spiritual energy from 100 miles around, making it appear like a great sun descending from on high. The mere heat waves it emits ignite the surrounding forests, melt the mountain rocks, and many animals are scorched into charred corpses, causing countless others to flee in terror. Once fully charged, the illusory three-legged golden crow above the red shining immortal palace opens its mouth, consuming the thousands of top-grade spirit stones within the attack formation of the palace in an instant. In the next moment, a scorching red light illuminates the entire sky as flames sweep across, incinerating all dust instantly. The terrifying heat and impact carried by the red light drill into the mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance. The array trembles violently, causing the 12 sword peaks to shake with it, and terrifying cracks open up in the ground, making it seem as if heaven and earth are inverted. The spirit vein below continuously supplies defense as it is drawn by the mountain protection array, but still can't fully meet the need. The attack power of the red shining immortal palace exceeds the defensive limits of the mountain protection array, prompting panic screams from many disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, on the verge of collapse. Even the inner disciples, seeing the red shining immortal palace above like a dazzling sun, tremble all over, cold sweat pouring down, feeling a great disaster looming. Because they know that the core Taoist platform realm elders of their sect have suffered heavy losses, relying on the mountain protection array can only hold them off for a time, but there will inevitably be a day when it is broken. And atop the red shining immortal palace, standing high is a cultivator in red robes, none other than the sect master of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, Chu Yengang. Chu Yengang exudes an overwhelming and domineering aura, looking down coldly at the mountain gate of the 10,000 Sword Alliance below, saying, "Li Yuza, stop the futile struggle. How can your mountain protection array stand against my red shining immortal palace?" His voice is sonorous and powerful, seemingly suppressing the entire battlefield. "Chu Yengang, are you really going to annihilate us to the last? You, as the leader of the righteous sects in Qing province, are conspiring with the demon path to ambush us. The whole world is watching your actions today, and the reputation of the Fire Cloud Palace is about to be ruined by you." On the Sun Peak, one of the 12 sword peaks, Li Yuza of the 10,000 Sword Alliance stands here, angrily shouting at the high sky where the red shining immortal palace hovers. "Humph! When you collaborated with the Guanchao Pavilion to besiege my Fire Cloud Palace back then, you didn't show mercy either." Chu Yengang sneered, seeing that Li Yuza had no intention of surrendering. He continued to issue orders. "Continue the attack. Break this damned turtle shell for me. Sect Master." The red shining immortal palace's consumption is immense. A few elders beside him looked somewhat conflicted. The red shining immortal palace is a massive gold eater, costing a huge amount of spirit stones to maintain annually, and operating it is even more outrageous. Merely relying on the natural sunlight and ambient spiritual energy can only supply a small portion of the energy demand. To maintain the flight of the red shining immortal palace, a large number of spirit stones must be invested every moment. And now, to attack the mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, the red shining immortal palace is powered fully, each strike consuming 1,000 top-grade spirit stones, a price equivalent to a low-grade magical treasure. The terrifying consumption makes the high levels of the Fire Cloud Palace feel distressed and under great pressure. Taking down the 10,000 Sword Alliance can compensate for all our expenses. Chu Yengang remained unmoved. They had already deployed the red shining immortal palace here, If they didn't take down the 10,000 Sword Alliance, it would be purely at a loss. By conquering the 10,000 Sword Alliance, they could replenish their consumption through looting and even gain a profit. More importantly, by destroying the 10,000 Sword Alliance, Qing province would be dominated by the Fire Cloud Palace, with no other forces daring to defy them anymore. Under Chu Yongong's insistence, the red shining immortal palace continued its terrifying assaults. The illusory three-legged golden crow opened its mouth again. The aura of the Tao River circulated on the three-legged golden crow. This was actually an artificial Dharma form constructed with a formation, using the red shining immortal palace to connect with the Tao River. Through a special array, the essence of the Tao was integrated into the attack formation, creating a Dharma illusion. With the enormous spiritual power, each of the red shining immortal palace's full-force attacks became terrifyingly powerful. The power of the Tao surged, with the waves of flames filling the sky coalescing into form. A vast and boundless fiery force descended, seemingly causing every inch of air to tremble wherever it passed. In an instant, the mountain protection array constructed by the 12 sword peaks was once again engulfed by flames, the terrible shockwaves raising the ground layer by layer. Outside the 12 sword peaks, the surrounding land had already been turned into blazing magma by the residual heat of the high-temperature flames, forming twisting rivers of magma crisscrossing around the 12 sword peaks. As the attack waves descended one after another, the Fire Cloud Palace relentlessly activated the red shining immortal palace to launch the strikes. The mountain protection array of the 12 sword peaks started to emit subtle cracking sounds, as if delicate eggshells had developed cracks, causing chaos throughout the entire 10,000 Sword Alliance, filled with a sense of despair. Too much to bear. Li Yuze could no longer stand it. He leaped into the air, with the Sky Eagle Sword, a low-grade spiritual treasure, appearing in his hand, and charged out of the mountain protection array towards the red shining immortal palace. A sword chi slashed down from the sky, its unparalleled might seemingly ripping through the void, but upon striking the red shining immortal palace, it was continuously melted away by layers of flames, eventually dissolving into nothingness. This largest marvel constructed by the Fire Cloud Palace, the culprit for the Fire Cloud Palace's bankruptcies 8 times, the expensive cost is not without reason. Its defense strength is calibrated against the Purple Mansion realm, even though Li Yuze is a 7th realm Taoist platform expert, and wielding the low-grade spiritual treasure Sky Eagle Sword, he still could not make a dent in the red shining immortal palace. However, Li Yuze's attack had some effect in increasing the consumption of the red shining immortal palace. Bold enough to come out on your own. Chu Yongong's fiery brow raised. His whole body shot up like a flaming meteor, heading towards Li Yuze. A golden bell appeared, standing a yard tall. Its entire body was mixed with primordial elegance, inscribed with ancient Taoist characters on the outer layer, emitting a powerful aura. This was the mid-grade spiritual treasure, 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell, the weapon of the founding sect master of the Fire Cloud Palace, passed down through generations for over 1,000 years, always mastered by succeeding sect masters. Suppress. Chu Yengang raised the 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell and tapped lightly. The 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell emitted a supremely yang light, bright and crystal clear, pure and flawless, then descended with immense weight, emitting a thunderous roar. In that instant, the grand and vast bell sound echoed across the battlefield. As the body of the bell lit up with runes, with yin-yang qi revolving, differentiating the myriad things, forming countless treasure techniques, spreading throughout the sky. Its power was unmatchable, the divine force surging invincibly, terrifyingly potent. Just at the moment it rang, Li Yuze's face turned pale. His body was bombarded by one treasure technique after another, as if faced with an ocean, causing him to be repeatedly forced back even with the low-grade spiritual treasure Sky Eagle Sword in hand, blood seeping from the corners of his mouth, struggling defensively, barely holding on. Even taking advantage of the spiritual treasure's strength would be fine, but several figures soon flew out from the red shining immortal palace. They were supreme elders from the Fire Cloud Palace, all possessing cultivation in the Taoist platform realm. Because they wanted to monopolize the benefits of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, the Fire Cloud Palace came alone this time, not wanting to involve their acolyte sects in Qing province so as not to split the gains. Fighting one-on-one, none were a match for Chu Yengang, let alone being ganged up on. Seeing this setup, Li Yuza turned without hesitation and retreated back into the mountain protection array of the 12 sword peaks. Li Yuza's escape made it even more impossible to restrain the terrifying assault of the red shining immortal palace. Accompanied by one golden crow breath after another, burning with heavenly fire, the mountain protection array constructed by the 12 sword peaks was increasingly stretched to its limits. Cracks appeared on the mountain bodies of the 12 sword peaks, and the high temperatures gradually seeped into the array, causing the internal temperature to rise sharply, making each breath feel scorching. This kind of attack continued for a whole half-day. Under the continuous bombardment from the red shining immortal palace, the mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance could no longer withstand such repeated attacks. Finally, from daytime into deep night, accompanied by a crisp, clear sound, the entire 12 Sword Peaks mountain protection array flickered several times, and then it began to collapse from the base, completely eliminating the final shield of the 10,000 Sword Alliance. Atop the red shining immortal palace, Chu Yangang's gaze was icy as he saw the destroyed array. He waved his large hand. Everyone, storm the mountain gate. Erase the 10,000 Sword Alliance from Qing province today. Yes. Each disciple and elder from the Fire Cloud Palace responded with a booming agreement, their faces filled with excitement and ferocity. Besides the elders on the red shining immortal palace, the Fire Cloud Palace had brought more than 10,000 disciples, prepared for this very moment. Meanwhile, atop the 10,000 Sword Alliance, Li Yuza's gaze boiled with murderous intent, roaring, "All elders and disciples heed my command. The survival of the sect hinges on this battle. To live, we must fight to the death. Repel these Fire Cloud Palace scoundrels." Atop the 12 sword peaks, each sword peak stood crowded with disciples, their waist-sheathed flying swords unsheathed, as the elders wielded swords and rode the wind, forming a sword-sea waterfall vast and magnificent. The red shining immortal palace slowly descended, and the Dharma illusion of the golden crow opened its mouth once more, unleashing a rain of fire that lit up the night sky, illuminating the faces of many disciples, either excited or fearful. Boom! 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 The fire rain fell, uprooting trees and blasting the turf. The fiery wave surged in all directions, and many disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance were swallowed by the flames before they had time to respond, burned to ash. The red shining immortal palace launched several successive waves of assaults, causing heavy casualties among the 10,000 Sword Alliance's disciples. Originally, the 10,000 Sword Alliance, as the second sect in Qing province, second only to the Fire Cloud Palace, boasted tens of thousands of disciples, a number exceeding the disciples brought by the red shining immortal palace. But in front of the red shining immortal palace, the number of disciples was mere cannon fodder. Not to mention the outer disciples, even the inner sect disciples suffered enormous losses. Even those with Yunling realm cultivation were merely stronger ants in the face of the red shining immortal palace's war fortress. Even many secret realm elders fell. The assault of the red shining immortal palace was terrifyingly powerful. It was only because the attacks required significant preparation that the 10,000 Sword Alliance had a brief respite. The red shining immortal palace did not continue attacking. They didn't just want to destroy the 10,000 Sword Alliance but also wanted to seize its territory and claim it as their own. If they bombarded it into ruins, breaking the spirit vein's flow, it would be unprofitable. So they needed to dispatch disciples and elders to clear the remaining resistance. Moreover, considering the red shining immortal palace's expenses, each assault cost millions of spirit stones. With the mountain protection array broken, exchanging some lives was more economical than using the red shining immortal palace's strikes. It's like modern warfare. Although missiles are good, no country would use one to strike a single infantryman. It's a losing deal. As the red shining immortal palace landed with a thud, a tremor shook the ground and mountains, and numerous red-clad disciples of the Fire Cloud Palace charged out from all directions of the immortal palace. Kill, kill, kill. Follow me and charge the 10,000 Sword Alliance. Slay a 10,000 Sword Alliance disciple. Reward 500 Spirit Stones. Wipe out the 10,000 Sword Alliance and make the sun and moon of Qing Province renew themselves. Under the leadership of elders from the Fire Cloud Palace, the disciples stormed the 12 sword points. Fire Cloud Palace scum. Taste the 10,000 Sword Alliance's flying swords. If you don't want to die, fight with all your might. Repel these Fire Cloud Palace bastards. Slay a Fire Cloud Palace member. Reward 1,000 Spirit Stones. Slay an inner sect disciple. Reward 10,000 Spirit Stones. Slay an elder. Reward 50,000 Spirit Stones. The 10,000 Sword Alliance responded similarly, with elders leading, disciples manipulated flying swords, clashing with the ascending Fire Cloud Palace disciples. In an instant, countless treasure techniques, magic artifacts, talismans, divine skills, and Taoist skills intertwined, turning the whole battlefield into chaos. A Fire Cloud Palace elder with long red hair operated the fire-devouring Pure Yang True method, unleashing a spiritual fire called Yin Ghost Flame from around him. This flame displayed an interplay of green and blue hues, exuding a chilling aura. Unlike ordinary flames, it was thin and light, more like a dense fog. As it appeared, it began to disperse and spread, surging like thick fog. A 10,000 Sword Alliance disciple was just enshrouded by the Yin Ghost Flame. His whole soul was directly burned, fire spewed from his 7 orifices, and he let out a scream of unbearable pain, rolling on the ground for a few moments, then lay motionless. If someone examined his corpse, they would find his outer skin and flesh intact, but the internal organs and brain matter were cooked by high temperature. The mist formed by the Yin Ghost Flame flickered, igniting 10,000 Sword Alliance disciples one after another, burning them crispy on the outside and charred inside. Above the sky dome, icy cold winds howled fiercely. A 10,000 Sword Alliance elder wielded a magic treasure flying sword, the sword threw out resembling ice crystal, exuding piercing cold, freezing the air into snowflake crystals. The Fire Cloud Palace elder who was unleashing Yin Spirit Ghost Fire sensed something was amiss. His eyes spewed flames, intending to resist, but was directly pierced through the neck by this flying sword, causing his actions to freeze, his head rolling from his neck, his body turning into an ice sculpture, shattering into pieces upon crashing to the ground from high above. The ice crystal flying sword continued its trend, sweeping across the earth and freezing countless Fire Cloud Palace disciples into lifelike ice sculptures, transforming the scene into an ice sculpture forest akin to human body art. Sword cultivators are reputed as the foremost attackers, and the 10,000 Sword Alliance specializes in flying swords, surpassing the fire attacks of Fire Cloud Palace in terms of attack power. Elders battled in the sky, while disciples fought fiercely on the ground. On the battlefield, flying swords slashed through the sky, as if giant dragons were recklessly charging. Flames arose instantly, transforming into massive waves of fire, surging mightily. Talismans flickered, streaks of brilliance shone across the battlefield. The fierce battles between the disciples and elders created this grand battlefield. Yet, what truly determines the outcome of this battle is not the disciples or elders of both sides, but the higher Taoist platform realm. Chu Yengang from Fire Cloud Palace led, accompanying 4 Taoist platform realm supreme elders, and steadily positioned themselves high in the heavens. They donned splendid magic robes, the golden crow circled around them. Qilin danced upon the clouds, thunder churned in the void, dominantly overlooking everything, with supreme majesty, seemingly overshadowing the radiance of the sun and moon. 5 mighty figures of the Taoist platform realm soared above the battlefield, their grand presence causing many disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance below to change color. Meanwhile, the Fire Cloud Palace's morale surged, and their battle intent burned fervently. Heavenly might! Di Pingqiu sneered, clasping both hands together. Heavenly might! Heavenly might! Heavenly might! The other 3 Taoist platform realm powerhouses similarly joined their hands, employing their signature abilities of the Taoist platform realm, opening the heavenly eye at their foreheads, connecting with the Tao River, controlling the nearby celestial forces. In an instant, The sky became shrouded in dark clouds, lightning intertwined, flying swords plummeted, compressing the heavens and earth, as if an aspect of heaven pressed upon them. Rampant lightning transformed into the heavenly emperor, seeming to command all lightning, capable of obliterating everything with effortless gestures. A volcano erupted, fierce flames burned, forming a flame giant akin to a small mountain. Every step it took produced a small magma lake, incinerating enemies to ashes. The mighty power of the Taoist platform realm left both secret realm elders and disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance exceedingly vulnerable in the face of the vast calamity stirred by heavenly might. Every descent of heavenly might unleashed colossal power as if annihilating the world, resonating thunderously throughout, instilling chilling fear, dominating the entire battlefield. The heavenly calamities intertwined and rampaged across the battlefield. The Taoist platform realm powerhouses showed no martial virtue, which proved to be despairing for the secret realm elders and Yunling realm disciples. In this world where a single person could form an army, the appearance of one strong figure was enough to reshape the battlefield. Much more so when there were 5 complete Taoist platform powerhouses. Their efficiency in clearing out soldiers was astonishingly high, with each strike of heavenly might rewriting the terrain, utterly unmatched by any forces on the battlefield. The 10,000 Sword Alliance's battle soon faced collapse. A large number of disciples had been slain into despair, turning to flee heedlessly. In comparison, the Fire Cloud Palace had a cloud of Taoist platform powerhouses, while the 10,000 Sword Alliance was now left with only Li Yuze, a 7th realm of Taoist platform powerhouse, who had become Chu Yangong's target. Witnessing his disciples and elders dying under heavenly might, Li Yuze's eyes filled with tears, fighting against Chu Yengang while forming spell gestures. If you won't give our 10,000 Sword Alliance a path to live, then Fire Cloud Palace shouldn't expect an easy time either. 12 heavenly sword formation arise. As soon as the words dropped, the 12 sword peaks simultaneously convulsed violently, nearly splitting their mountain bodies in half. In the night sky, 12 streams of starlight descended from the heavens, guided by the power of the stars, resting upon the 12 sword peaks. The void cracked open with a terrifying fissure. The power of the Tao River leaked into reality. This was clearly a great Taoist formation. Once upon a time, Guanchao Pavilion performed a blood sacrifice of 1,000,000 people, expending countless spiritual materials and divine objects to create the 100 Rivers Covering Array, belonging to the great Taoist formation, which was also the kingpin leading to Guanchao Pavilion's defeat. Under the starlight's illumination, the 12 sword peaks gleamed like 12 tremendous divine swords piercing the sky and ground, exuding an unparalleled wave of majestic power. Many disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance engaged in the current slaughter suddenly lost control of their flying swords, reversing and piercing into their skulls. Numerous flying swords left behind due to death on the ground likewise spontaneously rose, indiscriminately attacking both sides. Their souls instantaneously shattered beneath the great Tao sword formation, driven into the Tao River. Forming the Tao formation is not easily accomplished, requiring the price of Tao backlash, while the 12 heavenly sword formation utilized visceral materials from the battlefield soldiers' blood to endure the Tao backlash, irrespective of being their own or Fire Cloud Palace disciples. The battlefield was drenched in blood. One cultivator after another died under the flying swords. Many disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance fell dying with wide-open eyes, never expecting to perish under their own sect's great Taoist formation. During the blood sacrifice, beneath the earth, almost instantly drained was the spirit vein deep within the 10,000 Sword Alliance's ground, compressing swiftly into 12 heavenly divine swords no longer than 3 feet. As the 12 heavenly swords took shape, both Di Pingqiu and others felt an immense threat, their expressions changing with shock and fury. Li Yuze, you lunatic! To use your own sect's disciples for a blood sacrifice in the Tao formation. Di Pingqiu roared in anger, scolding how the 10,000 Sword Alliance still had a concealed hand with the Tao formation and treated their own sect so ruthlessly. Watch out! Chu Yangong's expression turned cold as well, now aware of the 10,000 Sword Alliance still having a trump card. He decisively vibrated the 10,000 laws in Yang Bell, myriad treasure techniques flew forth, rippling layers upon the void, yet this still unsuccessful in preventing the 12 heavenly sword formation's completion. The 12 heavenly swords interwove to form a vast sword array. The grasses and trees of the mountains swayed, grains of sand leapt, and a bone-chilling sword intent spread out. In the next instant, the 12 heavenly swords all aimed at a Taoist platform realm expert. The heavenly swords connected with the infinite torrents of the Tao River, imbuing each sword with terrifying power. Wherever they passed, black marks appeared in the void, as if even the space itself was being sliced apart. The Taoist platform realm expert from the Fire Cloud Palace targeted by the Tao sword formation turned pale. He dodged while counterattacking with various magical treasures and spiritual fire. Other Taoist platform realm experts also joined in to help, but these attacks only slightly hindered the heavenly swords. If the great Taoist formation were so easily broken, it would not bear the name of the Tao. The movement technique of this Taoist platform realm expert was no match for the heavenly swords. As each sword pierced through his body, they riddled his primordial spirit with holes. Even a god unification level primordial spirit was difficult to spare under the aura of the heavenly swords. The first Taoist platform realm expert to fall in this battle appeared, originating from the Fire Cloud Palace. Now it seemed silent for a few seconds, as Chu Yengang burned with rage. He held the 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell and charged at Li Yuza, intending to kill the controller and cause the Tao sword formation to collapse on its own. Chu Yengang wielded the mid-grade spiritual treasure 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell to its limits, shuttling through the sword array with unparalleled speed. Every time the bell rang, it triggered a terrifying impact that seemed to engulf the 8 directions, while countless treasure techniques rained down. The 12 heavenly swords turned and flew towards Chu Yengang. Clang, 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 clang. The 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell protected Chu Yengang, but the heavenly sword struck it, leaving deep sword marks but struggling to actually destroy this mid-grade spiritual treasure. The deep and surging bell sounds roared like waves, and in the midst of collisions, Chu Yengang swiftly charged towards Li Yuza. Li Yuza, frightened, turned to fly and flee, diving into the fissures in the Sword Peak mountain body, playing cat and mouse with Chu Yengang. Meanwhile, Li Yuza abandoned precise control of the 12 sword formation, allowing it to attack in a broad range and slaughter all cultivators present. The 12 heavenly swords rampaged, their sword cheese aftershocks tearing the bodies of many Fire Cloud Palace disciples to shreds, turning them and the surrounding rocks and trees to dust. Whether a Yunling realm disciple or a secret realm expert, in the face of the heavenly swords condensed from the Tao sword formation, they were like ants. Even the 3 Fire Cloud Palace Taoist platform realm experts were forced to jump and evade by the heavenly swords. Without any choice, the cultivators present also scrambled into the underground and mountain fissures. The interiors of the 12 sword peaks had been hollowed out by the 10,000 Sword Alliance to serve as residences for disciples. Now, with the mountains collapsed, the complex passageways became the best hiding places. The heavenly swords also drilled into the mountain fissures, vowing to fight till the end. It now depended on whether the heavenly swords killed them first, or Chu Yengang eliminated Li Yuza first. There were too many twists in this battle. Fire Cloud Palace and the 10,000 Sword Alliance fought to a white-hot intensity, with a tragic level of brutality, both sides suffering heavy casualties. In the twilight gloom, the battlefield of the 10,000 Sword Alliance appeared particularly desolate. The air was thick with the stench of blood, while sparks of spiritual power and fragments of souls drifted among the clouds. Broken flying swords lay scattered across the ground on the battlefield, and the crippled flying swords, having lost their master's guidance, lay powerless in the pockmarked earth. The once lush forests were uprooted, and gigantic spirit trees and spirit plants reduced to ashes. The ground was gouged out by mana, and majestic palaces and towers lay shattered into ruins. A dead silence enveloped the world, with only the continual rumbling sounds underground and within the mountains. The battle's ferocity and devastation were unimaginable. This battle was drawing to its close, while further away, forces from various places in Qing province secretly watched. After all, in half a day, the Fire Cloud Palace declared a sect annihilation war on the 10,000 Sword Alliance. The immense commotion had already spread throughout Qing province. Any faction with some capability in Qing province would dispatch spies to gather intelligence about this battle that concerned Qing province's future shifts. On a mountain top on the periphery, Su Jie appeared, watching the crumble of the mountain protection array of the 10,000 Sword Alliance and grinning as the fearsome Tao Sword formation appeared. Fight, fight more fiercely. I'll add a little something for you. As he spoke, Su Jie silently released the Thousand-Hand Centipede. The Thousand-Hand Centipede used its burrowing skills, carrying Su Jie as it tunneled towards the 10,000 Sword Alliance. This is the 10,000 Sword Alliance's treasure vault. Inside the mountain, the earth and stone loosened, the formation was forcibly opened, and the figure of the Thousand-Hand Centipede appeared in a cave. Su Jie also stepped down from the back of the Thousand-Hand Centipede. The first step Su Jie took upon entering the 10,000 Sword Alliance was to seek out the treasure vault, not rushing into battle, but first gaining some benefits for himself. Looking at the cave filled with rows of shelves in front of him, Su Jie couldn't help but sigh. Indeed, there aren't many good things left. The treasury had few good things left, mostly various cultivation technique books, besides some spirit plants and spiritual materials. As for elixirs, talismans, and magic artifacts, there were basically none because at the critical moment of life and death for the 10,000 Sword Alliance, these items that could enhance combat power were mostly distributed for use in battle. The treasure vault also had no spirit stones, probably spent to activate the Tao Sword formation. What's left are only spirit plants, spiritual materials not usable in battle, and those cultivation technique books. Yet even what remains, just calculating the spirit plants and spiritual materials, converted to spirit stones, amounts to 70 to 80 million spirit stones. Not to mention those priceless books, which are the foundation of a sect, mainly various sword formulas and sword manuals, and the cultivation insights, annotated reflections left by successive sword Dao experts of the 10,000 Sword Alliance. These books can greatly increase the heritage of a sect, especially for Su Jie, who is to take charge of Ghost Ridge Palace. They are of absolute value, enriching the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples' combat methods. In the future, Ghost Ridge Palace can even establish a separate sword cultivator branch, without the worry that disciples have no cultivation technique to learn. Su Jie's sigh was entirely due to greed not being satisfied. The small portion of resources left in the treasure vault is now remarkably valuable. If in a complete state, it's unimaginable how many spirit stones the stored resources would be worth. Su Jie felt it was a loss not having gained more, so how could he not sigh? Emptying out everything in the treasure vault, he put them all into his storage bag. Su Jie began to extend his divine sense outward. Now that the money is in hand, it's time to address the issue with Fire Cloud Palace. In the dim cave within the mountain, Di Pingqiu fled rapidly, his figure flickering unpredictably in the intricate passages. Behind him, 3 heavenly swords pursued like tracking missiles, their sword chi tearing through the air. The dense earth and stone in front of them pierced through instantly, constantly closing in on Di Pingqiu. Xidagarba Bone Fire. Di Pingqiu shouted coldly. As a strong Dao platform realm 4th level cultivator, he had a chance to struggle against the Tao Sword formation. He opened his mouth and spat out, spewing a dismal green Xidagarba Bone Fire. The flames roared like waves, forming a vast sea of fire, burning the mountain soft, causing a large area around to collapse. The 3 heavenly swords shuttled through the sea of fire formed by the Xidagarba Bone Fire, which could melt the bones of a Dao platform realm cultivator, but failed to actually harm these 3 heavenly swords. Because the heavenly swords had no physical form, they were entirely fused by the brilliance of stars and the aura of the Great Dao. To counter this move, you would need at least a sliver of Great Dao level power. Heavenly might was insufficient, only by using Dharma form, as Dharma form is composed of the cultivator's primordial spirit infused with the aura of the Great Dao. Di Pingqiu's face changed slightly, his body quickly dodged, but he was still a step too slow. The 3 flying swords, approaching in a pin formation, pierced through his shoulder, chest, and right leg one after another. Thud! His broken leg fell to the ground. A gaping hole the size of a sea bowl appeared in his chest, front to back, seeing the writhing, incomplete internal organs inside clearly. This destruction not only injured his physical body, but the aura of the great Tao on the heavenly sword acted simultaneously on his primordial spirit, cutting it 3 times, causing unbearable pain, his features distorted beyond recognition due to the agony. "Damn it, I won't die here." Di Pingqiu cursed angrily, seeing the 3 heavenly swords turn again. A fierce look flashed across his face. He stuffed his hand into the bloody hole in his chest, grabbed his heart, and pulled it out forcefully. Amidst the spray of blood, his still-beating heart was dug out by Di Pingqiu himself. For ordinary people, this would be suicidal. But in the Tao platform realm, the self-healing ability of the physical body is immensely strong. Though not as extensive as those odd demon path self-healing capabilities, it isn't deadly to extract the heart. Holding the heart, Di Pingqiu also grabbed half of the primordial spirit that was cut by the heavenly sword, inserted it into the heart, then infused spiritual power, manipulated the Xitigarbha bone fire to form a 3-legged golden crow, which grabbed the heart and swiftly flew away. Meanwhile, Di Pingqiu's own body completely concealed his aura, operated the concealment magic skill, burying himself into the soil layers of the mountain, making himself resemble a corpse being buried. This process that sounds lengthy actually happened within milliseconds. The 3 heavenly swords chasing in midair circled around repeatedly, seeming to hesitate, then moved again, choosing to pursue in the direction of Di Pingqiu's heart, successfully deceived. Due to the lack of Li Yu's precise control, the 12 heavenly swords operated on instinct. Di Pingqiu's heart contained his essence blood and primordial spirit, luring the heavenly sword into misjudgment. Di Pingqiu sealed his Yuan Xiao, completely withdrawing his divine sense into his body, staying buried in the soil, not daring to easily show his face, to avoid provoking the murderous intent of the 12 heavenly swords. A minute passed. 10 minutes passed. Half an hour passed. Di Pingqiu finally couldn't hold back. Sensing it was somewhat safer, he cautiously poked his head out of the soil, like a gopher, observing the surroundings. When he saw that the 3 heavenly swords had vanished without a trace, he immediately let out a sigh of relief and leapt out of the ground with his 1 remaining leg. His face was pale as paper due to the loss of his physical body and primordial spirit, weak beyond compare. "Li Yu, don't let me catch you, or I'll grind your bones into powder." Di Pingqiu cursed angrily, filled with hatred. As the supreme elder of Fire Cloud Palace, he held a high rank and formidable strength in Qing province and had never suffered such humiliation, forced to feign death underground just to survive. If word got out, his reputation as a Taoist platform realm powerhouse would be utterly tarnished. The only consolation for Di Pingqiu was that no one witnessed this scene, so he could still preserve his heroic reputation. Just as he was thinking this, he suddenly heard footsteps approaching, accompanied by a teasing voice. "Oh, isn't this the famous Elder Di of the Fire Cloud Palace? How did you end up like this after just a day?" "Who?" Di Pingqiu's face turned angry, his eyes emitting a cold light. Though he was severely injured, he would not let just anyone mock him. He intended to show this reckless fool the cost of taunting him, while also eliminating any witnesses, thus maintaining his strongman's image. But when Di Pingqiu turned his head and saw who it was, his pupils shook with shock as he exclaimed, "Su Jie, why is it you?" The newcomer was a young man in a black robe, with a black-purple centipede coiled around his shoulder, accompanied by a stunning woman in a blood-colored wedding dress. Having once closely collaborated with him as intimate allies, Di Pingqiu could never misrecognize the great demon from Qingzhou, Su Jie. Su Jie smiled at the corner of his mouth, raising his hand in greeting as he said, "Elder Di, long time no see. I heard you guys at Fire Cloud Palace are planning to attack the 10,000 Sword Alliance, so I came to help. Your Fire Cloud Palace is quite something. Didn't you say that attacking the 10,000 Sword Alliance and Guanchao Pavilion required long-term planning? Why did you act against the 10,000 Sword Alliance the moment I left? Are you trying to cut me out of the spoils and trick me away? Your 10,000 Sword Alliance really lacks integrity." As he spoke, Su Jie walked toward Di Pingqiu. Hearing this, Di Pingqiu felt something was off and couldn't help but say, "Elder Su, you've misunderstood. We didn't intend to act so hastily." It's just that we suddenly heard the 10,000 Sword Alliance was planning to ally with Guanchao Pavilion, so we had to act early to prevent their union. It all happened so suddenly, and we didn't have time to inform you. Internally, however, Di Pingqiu sneered, thinking that Su Jie was there to claim a share of the spoils from the 10,000 Sword Alliance. He decided that after regrouping with Sect Master Chu Yengang, they would first eliminate Li Yuza, then dispose of Su Jie, using his head to clear Fire Cloud Palace of its association with the Demon Path. In doing so, he could also silence Su Jie, preventing him from spreading tales of his own embarrassing state to the world. Is that so? It seems I've misunderstood you then.
Suyenoddet draling closer to Di Pingqiu.
When they were less than a zhang apart, Di Pingqiu noticed a fierce glint in Su Jie's eyes. Something's wrong. Di Pingqiu's expression suddenly changed as he saw Su Jie abruptly move. Su Jie's right hand shot out like a dragon, his palm grasping for Di Pingqiu's head. His 5 fingers were like dragon claws, as strong as steel. Not just a human head, even a solid metal ball would be crushed by Su Jie's grip. Di Pingqiu, being a strong man of Fire Cloud Palace, at the critical moment, his neck suddenly became soft as a snake, extending inch by inch to dodge Su Jie's hand. Rip! Flesh and bones separated as Su Jie's clawed hand reached Di Pingqiu's shoulder, tearing his left shoulder and arm completely off. Blood spattered onto Su Jie's face, making him look even more ruthless. Oh, quite alert, aren't you? Su Jie tossed aside the severed arm, speaking in a tone of regret for not crushing Di Pingqiu's head with one strike. While on the other side, Di Pingqiu was both furious and frightened. Su Jie, are you mad? We are partners, yet you dare attack me? Do you intend to make enemies of our Fire Cloud Palace? At this moment, Di Pingqiu was left with only one arm and one leg, staring at Su Jie with flames in his eyes and a hint of uncontainable fear. Heh. Partners? Please, I'm a demon cultivator. Are you really talking about trust with me? Su Jie burst into laughter, as if he had heard a joke. As for opposing the Fire Cloud Palace, if I kill you, how would you have the energy to come after me? Better think about how to protect yourselves first. As soon as he finished speaking, the 1,000-hand centipede coiled around Su Jie's shoulder opened its mouth. Countless pale corpse hands emerged from the void, filling every inch of the surrounding space. Just a glance would trigger anyone's fear of density, forming a vast ocean of corpse hands surging towards Di Pingqiu. Xidagarba Bone Fire. Di Pingqiu desperately activated the Xidagarba Bone Fire, but having lost a hand and a leg with his heart gone, and his internal organs severely damaged, along with half of his primordial spirit missing, his power was greatly diminished, weakening the might of the Xidagarba Bone Fire significantly. The Xidagarba Bone Fire could not stop the advance of the numerous pale corpse hands. Those being burned were fewer than the new ones growing. Each pale corpse hand clung to Di Pingqiu's body with incredible strength, their palms growing fangs and a single eye, biting his flesh and emitting rays that melted his skin and muscles. Su Jie, you bastard, you won't die a good death. Di Pingqiu screamed in agony, knowing he couldn't escape today, his fury towards Su Jie reaching the heavens, while his heart was filled with sorrow. If he were in his prime, how could he fail to deal with just these corpse hands? But having been heavily injured by the Tao sword formation earlier, he couldn't withstand even the small maneuvers of the 1,000-hand centipede now. TSK, when we first met, you pretended to be crazy and foolish, but you weren't like this back then. You've broken down so easily. Su Jie shook his head with a chuckle, patting the head of the 1,000-hand centipede. Shao Qian, this guy is yours. Make him understand pain. Buzz. The 1,000-hand centipede crawled down from Su Jie's shoulder, its 6 pairs of wings fluttering, maintaining a size of several yards. The surrounding pale corpse hands automatically parted to create a path. With a whistle, the 1,000-hand centipede arrived in front of the still cursing Di Pingqiu, its cold insect eyes devoid of any emotion, its body like a giant python, coiling around Di Pingqiu, continually tightening and contracting. Furthermore, tiny, slender centipedes fell from the 1,000-hand centipede, beginning to burrow into Di Pingqiu's mouth and nose, entering his body to gnaw on his organs and flesh. Di Pingqiu's physical body was continuously compressed, feeling his bones breaking one by one, as the numerous small centipedes devoured him. The sensation of death approaching clearly, along with the agony of being bitten by thousands of insects, filled him with immense fear, making him struggle with all his might. Clusters of Xidagarba bone fire drilled out from Di Pingqiu's flesh, but the thousand-hand centipede wouldn't budge. Its body had already shown characteristics of a Tao chaos creature, transforming into streams, flames, metal, and iron, with extremely high resistances against various attacks. How could Di Pingqiu, in his near-death state, with Xidagarba bone fire of that level, possibly harm the thousand-hand centipede? After the thousand-hand centipede had had its fun, the pale corpse hands on either side of its body grabbed Di Pingqiu's frame tightly and exerted force. The sky began to rain blood, as Di Pingqiu's body was torn into chunks of flesh and broken bones, as if being passed through a meat grinder. This was how he met his end. Beside Su Jie, Han Ruyan took out the 10,000 soul banner and gently waved it, drawing Di Pingqiu's shattered primordial spirit into the banner, successfully embedding it within. Meanwhile, the droplets of blood that had fallen from Di Pingqiu to the ground, like wriggling tadpoles, moved continuously towards Su Jie, burrowing beneath his voluminous black robe. The thousand-hand centipede, carrying Di Pingqiu's storage bag in its mouth, excitedly brought it to Su Jie, presenting it proudly. With this, Di Pingqiu, a Taoist platform realm 4th level expert from the Fire Cloud Palace, fell at the hands of Su Jie. His soul was captured, his blood was harvested, and his possessions were plundered. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say he was utterly wrought dry. Good job. Su Jie patted the thousand-hand centipede's head, then scanned the storage bag with his divine sense. Tisk, it's worth at least 30 million spirit stones. This old guy sure raked it in. Upon seeing this, Su Jie broke into a broad smile, evidently satisfied with the contents of Di Pingqiu's storage bag, feeling that his venture into danger hadn't been in vain. After putting away the storage bag, Su Jie held the thousand-hand centipede and cleaned up the battlefield, then continued onward, in search of the next target. The war between the 10,000 Sword Alliance and the Fire Cloud Palace continues. The ground is full of craters and ruins, and shattered flying swords are lodged in scorched earth, with broken corpses scattered everywhere. Underground, the casualties are equally tragic. 12 heavenly swords dive into underground caves and tunnel through the mountain, slaughtering the cultivators hiding within. Many cultivators from the Fire Cloud Palace couldn't even let out a cry before dying wretchedly under the heavenly swords, shredded into minced meat by sword chi. Boom! On the surface, an elder from the Fire Cloud Palace emerged from the ground in terror, looking battered, and urgently shouted, "Su Jie, you scoundrel!" In his furious cries, blazing hot flames erupted from his hands. He held a pair of mid-grade magical treasure tridents, transforming into 2 fiery pythons that dashed backward. Su Jie leisurely walked to the surface with a calm smile on his face. Cherish your last moments. Facing the incoming fiery pythons, the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring floating above Su Jie's head rose, emanating brilliant crimson-golden spiritual charm, akin to the sun's corona. The 2 fiery pythons continuously dissolved, reverting to their original magical treasure form, before being blasted away by the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring. Mere mid-grade magical treasures pose no threat to the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring. The 7 luminaries Star Lord ring, could it be Elder Zhang is? Upon seeing the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring, the Supreme Elder from the Fire Cloud Palace's eyes widened, seeming to understand something. But it was too late to realize this now. He couldn't change the predetermined outcome, just as with his own fate. Go! Su Jie waved his hand, and the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring flew out from above his head, unleashing rolling flames from all directions. Underneath the earth, volcanoes rose rapidly, the power of the low-grade spiritual treasure bursting forth, utterly overwhelming for the Taoist platform realm's 2nd-level elder of the Fire Cloud Palace. Among the spectacular eruption of volcanic smoke and fire, The body of the Supreme Elder from the Fire Cloud Palace was repeatedly impacted, his body breaking apart, the flames burning every inch of his flesh, turning him into charcoal. On the surface, the force of consecutive volcanic eruptions caused the ground to become ever more fragmented, with rivers of lava flowing everywhere. "You devil! Our Fire Cloud Palace will definitely kill you." The elder from the Fire Cloud Palace left only one final cry of grief before being burned alive by the fire. It is indeed ironic that he, a cultivator of fire attribute cultivation techniques, ultimately died by fire. The second one. Su Jie looked at the dead Supreme Elder without the slightest emotion on his face. This was the second Taoist platform realm expert he had killed after Di Pingqiu. Di Pingqiu was badly injured by the 12 constellations' heavenly sword formation, giving Su Jie an advantage. The second one was lucky enough to be fully intact when Su Jie found him. But even with only the Taoist platform realm second-level cultivation, he couldn't struggle for long against Su Jie, especially since Su Jie wielded the 7 Luminary Star Lord Ring, a fire attribute low-grade spirit treasure that restrained them significantly. At this point, of the 5 Taoist platform realm experts from the Fire Cloud Palace who entered the 10,000 Sword Alliance, 3 have fallen one after another. Extending his divine sense, Su Jie continued to search for his target. Due to the pursuit, Su Jie had already completely exposed himself. The cultivators still alive at the scene all saw the 7 Luminary Star Lord Ring above Su Jie's head and witnessed the Supreme Elder from the Fire Cloud Palace die miserably at Su Jie's hand. All at once, many present were left dumbfounded. Whether they belonged to the Fire Cloud Palace or the 10,000 Sword Alliance, even those from various forces watching outside, all had a big question mark looming over their heads. Rumors had it that Su Jie was collaborating with the Fire Cloud Palace, ambushing the Taoist platform realm experts of the 10,000 Sword Alliance. Why now, conversely, was Su Jie killing the elders of the Fire Cloud Palace? Su Jie's emergence caught everyone off guard, leaving them immensely puzzled. As expected, demon cultivators can't be trusted. I was so foolish to actually believe Su Jie's lies. The dirty-faced Qin Menjing opened her cherry lips, having witnessed her side's Supreme Elder fall, dying by Su Jie's hand, which was an enormous shock to this immortal seed maiden. It's worth noting that Su Jie was connected through her to collaborate with the Fire Cloud Palace. With Su Jie's sudden betrayal, Qin Menjing's heart surged with anger, then with regret. "Evil Su, I will kill you." Qin Menjing wanted to approach Su Jie, but instead, Su Jie didn't spare her a single glance, turning swiftly and flying in another direction. From the distance, the last Fire Cloud Palace Taoist Platform Realm Elder revealed his position, with a cultivation also at the Taoist Platform Realm second level. His form was quite ragged, pierced by the heavenly swords leaving him with several bloody holes, his blood fountain-like and unstoppable. "You devil!" At the moment he saw Su Jie, the Fire Cloud Palace Supreme Elder cursed angrily, before turning away immediately to flee. "Sect Master, this devil is too fierce. I'm no match, save me." He had no demeanor of a strong elder, calling for his Sect Master's aid. Seeing this, Su Jie clasped his hands together and coldly declared, "Heavenly might." Thousands of thunder turned into roaring thunder dragons, relentlessly striking the Fire Cloud Palace Supreme Elder, battering him into broken flesh, with bones cracking and skin burned. "You brat dare!" At this moment, from another direction, came an enraged shout from Chu Yengang. The earth shattered, Chu Yengang erupted from underground, his eye sockets bulging, his red beard waving like an infuriated fiery lion, sounding the 10,000 laws yin-yang bell. But his action was still late, because as he flew out, Han Ruyan also made her move, pressing her delicate hand downward. The Fire Cloud Palace Supreme Elder, paralyzed by the purple cloud divine thunder, could hardly resist, watching helplessly as Han Ruyan's palm struck down. Time seemed to stand still at that moment. The Supreme Elder's body froze, unmoving, and as a gentle breeze blew past, his physical body was instantly split. First in 2, then 4, and finally in 8. In the blink of an eye, his body was evenly divided into thousands upon thousands of pieces, dead beyond retrieval. Meanwhile, the thousand-hand centipede on Su Jie's shoulder soared into the air, reverting to its terrifying form of several hundred meters, blocking the 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell. This mid-grade spiritual treasure illuminated the entire battlefield, with streaks of treasure techniques falling like meteorites, colliding with the sturdy physique of the thousand-hand centipede. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede stubbornly rammed forward, but instead of moving the seemingly small 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell, it was thrown back by the treasure bell and collapsed onto the mountain below, the entire mountain quaking, causing countless boulders to tumble down. The thousand-hand centipede shook its body, its firm insect shell showing web-like cracks, a large portion dented inward, with a waterfall-like stream of blood pouring out, dyeing the mountain cliff red. Roar, roar, roar. The thousand-hand centipede was very angry. After advancing to an 8th-grade goo insect, this was the first time it was beaten to such a state. Even Han Ruyan hadn't blasted such a large hole in its head before, simply too much bullying of the insect. Don't worry, I'll help you get revenge later. Su Jie looked at the wounds healing on the thousand-hand centipede, then raised his head, his gaze coldly fixated on Chu Yengang. Su Jie, you are courting death. Seeing the 7 luminary star lord ring above Su Jie's head, fury burned in Chu Yangang's eyes, almost igniting Su Jie. He sensed with his divine sense, unable to detect the presence of other Fire Cloud Palace Supreme Elders, clearly indicating they had encountered misfortune at Su Jie's hands. Su Jie's appearance was something Chu Yengang hadn't anticipated. A guy originally meant to be a sharp blade against Guanchao Pavilion and the 10,000 Sword Alliance. But Su Jie's backlash came too quickly. Oh well, I had no choice, Chu Sect Master. It was all at the invitation of Li Yuza from the 10,000 Sword Alliance, who offered too high a price. Su Jie shrugged, his gaze falling on Li Yuza emerging from the ground behind Chu Yengang. Compared to Chu Yengang, Li Yuza was in a dire state, covered in blood and riddled with wounds, completely unable to contend solo with Chu Yengang. Upon hearing Su Jie's framing, Li Yuza's eyes showed a complex emotion. Of course, he hated Su Jie for everything he'd done to the 10,000 Sword Alliance, but given the circumstances, he had to unite with Su Jie to combat Chu Yengang, because Chu Yengang was genuinely aiming for his life. Su Jie's underlying message was clear to him. Is this the preparation of your 10,000 Sword Alliance? Colluding with this devil? Chu Yengang glanced at Li Yuza with eyes that were even more vicious and savage, assuming Li Yuza had bribed Su Jie. Given that Su Jie was a demon cultivator, always siding with whoever paid more, something no one would doubt. The Fire Cloud Palace, wouldn't ever think of becoming close friends with someone like Su Jie just by cooperating with him once. If your Fire Cloud Palace can hire him, why can't my 10,000 Sword Alliance? Li Yuza didn't deny it, gazing maliciously at Chu Yengang, the 12 heavenly swords suspended behind him, the sword tips aimed at Chu Yengang. Today, the 10,000 Sword Alliance was destroyed by the Fire Cloud Palace. Even if they chased off the Fire Cloud Palace, they'd be without a home, due to the vengeance of sect destruction, Chu Yengang making Li Yuza hate him even more. Today, both of you will die here. No one will escape. Chu Yengang showed no fear, speaking as he fully activated the 10,000 Laws Yin Yang Bell, its grand sound resonating across the battlefield. Streaks of brilliant treasure techniques transformed into flames, thunder, metal, frost, snow, and tsunamis varied drastically, descending to suppress Su Jie and Li Yuza. Li Yuza promptly activated the 12 constellations' heavenly sword formation. The 12 heavenly swords emitted a thick killing aura, the sword might enveloping the whole land, every inch covered by sword chi, causing dust to fly under its pressure, making all creatures tremble. Under Li Yuza's control, the sword array began to exert power. Each heavenly sword emitted deafening hums, connecting with the starlight from the sky dome, appearing like dazzling stars, and the fierce aura stirred massive waves, engaged in intense collision with numerous treasure techniques. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede bravely charged forward, its enormous body becoming radiant, showing the traits of chaotic creatures, no longer normal flesh. Han Ruyan wielded the 10,000 soul banner, dropping the Netherworld Bone Mountain formation. Millions of Yin souls merged into surging black smoke, sweeping out like ferocious black dragons. Su Jie held the 7 luminaries Star Lord ring overhead, grasping the divine firm sword, a blood sea stretching across the sky behind him. Su Jie and Li Yuze, originally sworn enemies, now allied, launching an encircling attack against Chu Yengang. The heavenly swords transformed into meteor-like streaks with beautiful comet tails, seeming like comets crashing into the earth, rapidly clashing with the 10,000 laws Yin-Yang bell, the sound of collision between the heavenly swords and the treasure bell echoing like thunder, enveloping the battlefield in a chilling aura of devastation. Li Yuze himself wielded the low-grade spirit treasure Sky Eagle sword, recklessly charging forward, engaging in frantic combat with Chu Yengang. The thousand-hand centipede relied on its strong self-healing ability and physical resilience, taking advantage of the 10,000 laws Yin-Yang bell being distracted by the heavenly swords, barging into the bell's range, opening its massive jaws, unleashing skyfire breath. The searing heat of the skyfire melted the land into a gigantic molten lava lake, while Chu Yengang frowned with cold eyes. His body emitted scorching heat, his skin merely blushing slightly, resisting the thousand-hand centipede's lethal breath attack. As the Fire Cloud Palace sect master, his resistance to flames was exceedingly high, and the thousand-hand centipede's breath fell well within his capabilities to handle. A flash of crimson shadow suddenly appeared in the void. Han Rian manifested and locked eyes with Chu Yengang, causing him to lose focus for a moment. Screech! The Sky Eagle sword pierced through Chu Yangang's abdomen, but what flowed out was not blood, but golden magma. Li Yuze seized the opportunity during Chu Yangang's distraction and successfully launched a sneak attack, only to further enrage Chu Yengang. Courting death. Chu Yengang hadn't finished speaking when his heart suddenly lurched. From afar, a beam of extreme radiance that seemed to pierce through thousands of worlds blasted forth, sending him flying hundreds of meters away. Su Jie's forehead split open, revealing the apparition of the Chaos Dharma form. With wings on its back, it had no arms or legs, resembling a massive, round flesh ball like a mountain. The single eye in the center emitted a dazzling radiance that drew the attention of all forces, leaving them immensely shocked. Dharma form. Chu Yengang gazed at the wound on his chest, where his flesh had melted, revealing writhing innards inside. Though he was indeed distracted and not at his peak state, it was the power of the Dharma form that fundamentally injured him. A Dharma form, a power even he had not mastered, was being utilized by this young brat, Su Jie. This guy, Li Yuze, while battling Chu Yengang, felt his wariness towards Su Jie rise several levels within. Seeing Chu Yengang falling into a disadvantage, the Fire Cloud Palace cultivators present grew increasingly anxious. On the red shining Immortal Palace, numerous elders of the Fire Cloud Palace began to operate this gigantic entity to rise. The apparition of the 3-legged golden crow opened its mouth, aimed towards Su Jie, and unleashed a formidable attack, with a river of fire burning its way forth. Rumble! In an instant Su Jie was melted, and 1/10 of the blood sea was evaporated at once. Su Jie's figure emerged over the blood sea, witnessing the red shining Immortal Palace recharging, its blinding crimson light flashing, with a second strike imminent. The thousand-hand centipede saw the blood sea evaporate and directly stepped forward with a centipede tail, striking at the red shining Immortal Palace. However, the blow that could carve a gorge on the earth failed to budge the red shining Immortal Palace at all, and instead, the thousand-hand centipede's own body began to crack. Compared to the red shining Immortal Palace, the thousand-hand centipede, several hundred meters long, was hardly significant. Its defensive capability was not something the current thousand-hand centipede could breach. The next moment, the 3-legged golden crow of the red shining Immortal Palace targeted the thousand-hand centipede, and with a flash of fire, the thousand-hand centipede's body was directly melted by the fire from the center, splitting into two. Its physical body could not withstand such a terrifying attack, more powerful than the 10,000 laws Yin-Yang bell. Bam! The thousand-hand centipede transformed into countless smaller centipedes, forming clusters of centipede insect clouds, regrouping into form, though its demeanor was significantly more dispirited than before. The red shining immortal palace operated at full power, and the Fire Cloud Palace was no longer concerned about saving money. It opened its full firepower on Qing Province's greatest war fortress, freely pouring in spirit stones. The Blood Sea was continuously evaporated. The Thousand-Hand Centipede's body was severed at the waist, and the bone mountain formed by the 10,000 soul banner was fragmented. Han Ruyan, however, remained unscathed. It was difficult for the red shining immortal palace to hit her, since its attack range was better suited for large-scale battlefields and large enemies, ineffective against nimble cultivators. Of course, Han Ruyan couldn't do much against the red shining immortal palace either. Furthermore, there was the 12 heavenly swords, a product of the merger of the Tao and celestial powers. Once exploded, they would recondense, and there was nothing the red shining immortal palace could do about it. Chu Yengang, slightly breathing easier, faced the combined assault of Liuza and Su Jie, coupled with the 12 constellations formation. He had to admit that, even with the 10,000 laws in Yongbel, he could not withstand it. Fortunately, he still had the red shining immortal palace, this sect-guarding treasure. Chu Sect Master, take my palm. Su Jie's figure rapidly approached, issuing a cold shout. Reckless, I want to see how many times your Blood Sea devouring sky demon technique can resurrect. Once your Blood Sea is completely evaporated, you'll remain here forever for me. Chu Yongang's gaze flickered with cold glints, just about to employ the 10,000 laws in Yongbel for suppression, when he saw a golden lotus appear in Su Jie's hand. Su Jie wielded the 9-grade sacred lotus and tapped it towards his forehead. Innate spiritual object. Chu Yengang just realized this item wasn't listed in the intelligence on Su Jie. The 9-grade sacred lotus cast down holy brilliance, clashing with the treasure of the 10,000 laws in Yongbel. Crack. In the stalemate, relying solely on the 9-grade sacred lotus couldn't break the defense of the 10,000 laws in Yongbel, but the 12 heavenly swords arrived simultaneously. Liuza, being a 7th-level Taoist platform realm expert with rich combat experience, immediately seized this flaw. 12 heavenly swords simultaneously pierced the point of attack from the 9-grade sacred lotus. Under the combined assault, the 10,000 laws in Yongbel emitted a cracking sound, revealing a break. Without any barrier, Su Jie's 9-grade sacred lotus struck down violently onto Chu Yongang's forehead, smashing his brain to splatter, avenging the 1,000-hand centipede. The 12 heavenly swords took advantage and pierced into his body, one by one, the Tao sword Qi tearing apart his primordial spirit. Several swords also headed straight for his skull, aiming to utterly shatter his head and primordial spirit. At the critical moment, the 10,000 laws in Yongbel rapidly trembled, its bell tolls sending all those heavenly swords and Su Jie flying away. In the blink of an eye, Chu Yengang sustained severe injuries. This is the consequence of bullying my little Xiao Qian. Remember it well? Only I can hit Xiao Qian's head. Su Jie grinned, pointing at Chu Yengang and spoke. Little devil, you're playing with fire and will get burned. Today I must kill you. Chu Yengang was both shocked and furious. Su Jie's endless hidden cards left him somewhat numb, and he harbored intense hatred towards Su Jie to the extreme point within. Heh! Since you've put it that way, I won't keep you company any longer. Su Jie, at this sight, could not help but grin, then decisively fled the scene. His goal was also achieved, as both the 1,000-hand centipede and Han Ruyan were suppressed by the red shining immortal palace, and most of the Blood Sea had evaporated. Continuing would really pose a life-threatening risk. Even if Chu Yengang could be killed, there was still Liuza to contend with. As Su Jie made his escape, Liuza was momentarily stupefied. He looked around and then retreated, manipulating the 12 constellations' heavenly sword formation while escaping in another direction. As for the remaining disciples of the 10,000 Sword Alliance, they couldn't be helped. Surviving meant having the opportunity to rebuild the mountain gate, but death meant everything was lost. The red shining immortal palace flew to where Chu Yengang was, but Chu Yengang, gravely injured, even with the 10,000 laws in Yongbel in hand, was powerless to pursue. The red shining immortal palace, even more, was unable. As a war fortress, though its attack power and defense were unparalleled. Its speed was the red shining immortal palace's shortfall. Such a massive size naturally couldn't match the high mobility of the Taoist platform realm. The demise of the 10,000 Sword Alliance quickly spread across the world, causing a huge sensation. As the second-ranking sect in Qing province, the sudden disappearance of the 10,000 Sword Alliance naturally drew significant attention. In the midst of all this, Su Jie's name once again shook the world. First, cooperating with Fire Cloud Palace to attack the 10,000 Sword Alliance, then teaming up with the 10,000 Sword Alliance to combat Fire Cloud Palace, showcasing repeated and skillful maneuvers that led to the destruction of the 10,000 Sword Alliance and leaving Fire Cloud Palace half-crippled, showcasing the wickedness of demon cultivation to the fullest. Fortunately, Su Jie is a demon cultivator and doesn't care about the world's criticisms. If it were the righteous sect, such behavior would have long been drowned in the world's contempt. My husband, what are you still looking at? In the largest inn of Lan City, Qing province, with a candle burning like beans, Han Rian sat on the bed and asked Su Jie beside her. Her skin was as white as the purest lamb jade, her figure appearing even more enchanting under the candlelight. Hold on for a moment, my wife. Su Jie leaned at the head of the bed, with a jade scroll before him. This jade scroll was a contribution from several supreme elders of Fire Cloud Palace, named Mystic Sky Immortal Residence. It naturally wouldn't be an ordinary item, since it attracted Su Jie's attention among numerous cultivation techniques. Unlike most cultivation techniques that directly absorb spiritual energy for cultivation, this tome named Mystic Sky Immortal Residence is quite intriguing. Using manpower, financial resources, and spiritual material to construct wonders, using wonders to rally spirits, aggregating belief into divinity, forging inner and outer unity, directly pointing to the great Tao. Su Jie recited these words, his eyes growing brighter. In simple terms, this Mystic Sky Immortal Residence is about building various wonders, where one's primordial spirit is anchored within these wonders. The functions of these wondrous buildings vary, but they all share a common trait: absorbing emotions such as awe, reverence, worship towards the wonders, and generating faith power. Once a wondrous building is completed, part of the primordial spirit resides within, and faith power directly absorbed by the primordial spirit accelerates its growth and refinement, considered a miraculous method of external primordial spirit training. In the record of Mystic Sky Immortal Residence, the wondrous buildings are categorized into 3 levels: human Tao level wonders, earthly level wonders, and heavenly Tao level wonders. Human Tao level wonders are the weakest, while heavenly Tao level wonders are the strongest. The more advanced the wonder, the larger its range for absorbing faith power, and the higher its refining efficiency. For example, a certain human Tao level wonder has a range of 1,000 kilometers, and if one person's faith power is 100 points, its absorption efficiency would be 20 points. If it were a heavenly Tao level wonder, its range could be hundreds or thousands of times larger, with its absorption efficiency of faith power being 90 points, entirely incomparable. In the tome Mystic Sky Immortal Residence, Su Jie also saw introductions and architectures of the Wilderness Tower and Red Shining Immortal Palace. The Wilderness Tower is a human Tao wonder. The Red Shining Immortal Palace is an earthly level wonder. Yes, the renowned Red Shining Immortal Palace, a landmark of Qing province, causing Fire Cloud Palace bankruptcy 8 times, is merely an earthly level wonder. As for heavenly Tao level wonders, the tome also records them, like the 33-layered Heavenly Palace, 6 Paths Reincarnation Mansion, and 3,000 Realms Ziwei Exquisite Tower. Su Jie glanced at them, realizing the construction materials needed would empty his storage bag without even scratching the surface. Clearly, Fire Cloud Cave's enthusiasm for building wonders is not simply a leisure endeavor. The Red Shining Immortal Palace, among others, serves as a vessel for carrying the primordial spirit, used for absorbing faith power, thereby strengthening the primordial spirit. The Red Shining Immortal Palace has existed for over 1,000 years, as the landmark building of Qing province, absorbing an unknown amount of people's faith power. It's no wonder that Fire Cloud Palace can continuously produce various strong cultivators. likely related to it. What interests Su Jie most is the existence of Mystic Sky Immortal Residence, letting Su Jie see a broad avenue for reinforcing his primordial spirit. Thinking about building wonders, Blue Star has much to say. The 8 wonders of the world belong to Blue Star's architectural wonders, though they can't really compare to the wonders in Tianyuan World. However, Blue Star has its own advantages, with its massive population density far surpassing Tianyuan World, providing more faith power naturally. Additionally, there's a difference in dissemination methods. Once a wondrous building is constructed, it must be spread out to be seen. If others can't see it, how could they be in awe, reverence, and worship to generate faith power? The red shining Immortal Palace, as Qing Province's largest landmark building, is not open to the public, and the people of Tianyuan World generally lack the concept of tourism. Most people only roam within a 100-mile radius from birth to death, so they might have heard of red shining Immortal Palace, but it wouldn't generate much faith power. However, on Blue Star, you can maximize the influence of wonders through tourism, live streaming, videos, and other convenient dissemination methods, absorbing more faith power. Su Jie can even imagine, if a wonder is built on Blue Star, it would shock the unworldly Blue Star people, attracting numerous visitors and gaining plenty of faith power through internet dissemination. Su Jie's primordial spirit is currently in the God Unification realm, aiming to break through to the Yangshan realm. Only by achieving Yangshan will the Dharma form become Su Jie's normal attack, significantly enhancing his combat power. If I construct a wonder on Blue Star, my speed of breakthrough to Yangshan will greatly accelerate. Achieving Yangshan with Taoist platform realm is absolutely not a dream. Su Jie feels more and more excited as he thinks, with his influence on Blue Star, building wonders wouldn't face any obstacles. The only difference is resource limitation. Speaking of resources, Su Jie has recently earned a fortune in Qing Province, with wealth of spirit stones exceeding 1 billion, absolutely no problem in constructing a human Tao-level wonder. My husband, it's time to rest, Han Ruyan urged again, pressing her jade-like hand on the jade scroll. Su Jie put away the jade scroll, glanced at the bright and captivating Han Ruyan, then slipped under the quilt to embrace her. The touch was supple, almost indistinguishable from reality if one ignored the hint of ethereal vagueness. My lady, when do you plan to ascend to the 9th grade? Soon, very soon. The candle flame flickered out, and the night passed without a word. When it comes to Su Jie, he truly is a peerless great demon. From Qingzhou to Chongzhou, from Chongzhou to Qing Province, he fought through 3,000 miles. Wherever he passed, blood seas surged and eerie winds howled, utterly vicious and ruthless. The next day, atop a high platform in a certain tavern in Lanzhou, a storyteller, holding a gavel, smacked it heavily with an elevated voice full of vigor. In the battle that extinguished the 10,000 Sword Alliance's sect, that evil Su soared across the battlefield, his demonic might unmatched. With a wave of his hand, he summoned storms, and with a stomp, the heavens turned and the earth shifted. Facing the suppression of the red shining Immortal Palace and the fiery torrents of the Fire Cloud Hall sect master, he slaughtered until rivers of blood flowed and corpses scattered across the wilderness. Speaking of his demonic might, it truly was unrivaled, and a world-class enemy of all righteous sections. The storyteller on stage kept narrating non-stop, unaware that the peerless great demon he spoke of was sitting below, feasting and drinking. Waiter, another pot of good wine, and slice 2 pounds of beef. Certainly, sir. It will come right away. Inside the tavern, a disguised Su Jie enjoyed fine wine and delicacies, then tossed a silver ingot towards the stage. Well spoken. This is for you. The weighty silver ingot landed in front of the storyteller, who instantly beamed with joy, repeatedly bowing to Su Jie. Thank you, young master, for your reward. May your fortunes flourish and good luck abound.
Su Jie, indifferent, continued fasting.
To think there's someone reciting tales of a demon, truly a rarity. Well, this devilish immortal seed has been stirring up storms lately, shaking the world. At another table, several loose cultivators dressed in varying attire showed expressions of surprise. Speaking of which, is the matter at Qilong Mountain true? Is there really an exotic treasure emerging there? Chatting, one suddenly lowered his voice and cautiously said, "How could it be false?" The circle of nearby cultivators is abuzz. The commotion at Qilong Mountain is so great, with treasure light shining day and night, illuminating the heavens and earth. There must be an exotic treasure appearing. Nearby sects have all rushed there. I'm planning to try my luck too. Maybe fate is on my side. Though they whispered cautiously, Su Jie overheard them easily. Upon hearing the words exotic treasure, Su Jie glanced over with immediate interest. Speaking of exotic treasures, the 9-grade sacred lotus in Su Jie's possession is one, a naturally occurring treasure that's hard to come by. Fellow Taoists, what's happening at Qilin Mountain? Silently, Su Jie placed his arm around one person's shoulder, seated himself among them, and with a smile, looked at the group of small loose cultivators. The small loose cultivators were startled and dismayed, realizing that the strongest among them, a cultivator at the 5th level of the Yunling realm, hadn't even noticed Su Jie's arrival. They all quickly understood that Su Jie was at least a 6th level Yunling cultivator, a formidable character akin to an inner disciple in a sect, not someone they could afford to offend. Taoist, please, you want to know something? We will certainly tell you everything. A loose cultivator cautiously began to speak. As loose cultivators without backing, living cautiously without support, offending a fierce person meant having nowhere to seek redress. Most loose cultivators survived by being cautious, thus dared not offend Su Jie. Just tell me about Qilong Mountain. Qilong Mountain. Well, it started about a week ago. As the loose cultivators chimed in their accounts, they quickly conveyed everything they knew. Qilong Mountain is the tallest mountain within Qing Province. About a week ago, the mountain suddenly underwent a mutation. Rumor has it a sound resembling dragon roars and phoenix cries emanated from Qilong Mountain, followed by beams of 5-colored mist rising skyward, with spiritual energy surging like a tide. The surrounding sect forces of Qing Province were alarmed, rushing to this location in droves. If it weren't for the recent collapse of the 10,000 Sword Alliance drawing a lot of attention, the anomaly of Qilong Mountain would have already spread far and wide. An exotic treasure. Who knows what kind it is? After listening, Su Jie showed a hint of interest in his eyes. Holding the 9-grade sacred lotus made Su Jie particularly interested in exotic treasures, and given his strength, Su Jie didn't believe anything could threaten him. If he truly couldn't win, with the Blood Sea devouring Sky Demon skill, even a 7th realm Taoist platform cultivator couldn't hold him back. All right, decided. I'll take a stroll to Qilong Mountain. Su Jie dismissed the idea of returning to Ghost Ridge Palace and planned to first take a trip to Qilong Mountain to see if he could find any opportunities. Qilong Mountain. This tallest mountain in Qing Province stands majestically, shrouded in mist. The ancient trees in the mountain tower upwards with lush leaves, seemingly swallowing all the sunlight. A clear spring cascades down from the mountain's peak, splashing into droplets that reflect a rainbow of colors in the air. Once peaceful and deserted, Qilong Mountain is now bustling with people. Numerous cultivators have gathered here, coming from various sects in Qing Province, along with many loose cultivators trying to fish in troubled waters. These people are all wary of each other, ready to unleash flying swords and magic at any moment, constantly advancing toward the mountaintop. At the summit of Qilong Mountain, there is a circular pit, bottomless, with 5-colored radiance surging like swallows, casting multicolored halos on the surrounding vegetation and cultivators. A bunch of wishful thinkers. Among the crowd, a young man in fine clothes holds a folding fan, his face shadowed with gloom. He is none other than the 6th prince of the Deli dynasty, Wei Lanchen. Master, be careful. Let's not get surrounded. An old man appears behind Wei Lanchen. His name is Lu Chang, a cultivator of the 3rd level of the Taoist platform realm, a royal sacrifice, specifically accompanying to ensure Wei Lanchen's safety and to support this trip to Qing Province. Wei Lanchen snorts coldly and says, "I understand, our royal family's possessions are not for them to covet." Despite his words, Wei Lanchen regrets it a little inside since the happenings on Qilong Mountain were of his own making. The anomaly here on Qilong Mountain isn't due to the emergence of some so-called exotic treasure. There's no exotic treasure on Qilong Mountain. What exists here is a dragon vein and a dragon vein crystal fruit born from it. Spread across the underground of the Tianyuan world are spirit veins, like large tree branches beneath the earth, while dragon veins are referred to as the larger spirit veins, akin to the trunk of a tree. The main features of a dragon vein, besides abundant spiritual energy that speeds up cultivation, include a special field of insight that assists cultivators in breaking through, and the unpredictable path of the dragon vein. Unlike ordinary spirit veins that have fixed areas, dragon veins move like giant dragons under the ground, wandering bizarrely, hard to pinpoint, hence they are called dragon veins. Dragon vein crystal fruit is a miraculous object born from dragon veins due to various fortunate coincidences over the years. Using it can maximize the enhancement of the surrounding spiritual energy environment, integrating it into underground spirit veins, further elevating ordinary spirit veins into dragon veins and fixing them so they won't roam unpredictably, becoming stationary like ordinary spirit veins. This is especially valuable for the Daily Royal family as their secret cultivation technique, the dragon-suppressing Heavenly Net Divine Scripture, relies on the dragon vein and imperial dynasty fortune. This technique is extremely domineering, and with a dragon vein crystal fruit, cultivation of the dragon-suppressing Heavenly Net Divine Scripture would be twice as effective, progressing rapidly. Since the founding of the Daily Royal dynasty, it has been pursuing the traces of dragon veins to obtain dragon vein crystal fruits. Wei Lanchen's visit to Qing province this time is specifically for the dragon vein crystal fruit, but due to some mistakes, he failed to find the dragon vein crystal fruit in time, instead exposing the anomaly here. It's coming out. Suddenly, the crowd becomes noisy, and countless cultivators look up. A dazzling light erupts from the depths of the earth, illuminating the entire Qilong Mountain. A rainbow bridge appears across the sky dome, and five-colored radiance begins to surge violently. A crystalline, pineapple-sized irregular sphere rises from the deep pit. It is the dragon vein crystal fruit, ascending slowly with a majestic and solemn demeanor into mid-air. Upon its emergence, the spiritual energy of the heavens and earth for 100 miles around becomes agitated, with countless threads of spiritual energy gathering spontaneously, forming rivers of spiritual energy resembling dragons soaring into the sky. Dragon vein crystal fruit. Among the present cultivators, those knowledgeable enough to recognize the dragon vein crystal fruit are initially stunned. Then their eyes blaze with fervor, and their expression becomes frantic. The dragon vein crystal fruit is an extremely rare sight, appearing once in 100 years. For a sect, it immensely boosts, transforming the sect's spirit veins into dragon veins, greatly enhancing its heritage and cultivation speed. Seize it. Grab the dragon vein crystal fruit. This belongs to our fog-hidden sect. Attack. A dragon vein crystal fruit. Who would have thought such a treasure would appear? By all means, seize it for me. One by one, the cultivators go mad, employing their skills, rushing towards the dragon vein crystal fruit. Stop, all of you. I am the sixth prince of the Daily Royal family, Wei Lanchen. This is a royal possession already decreed by our royal family. Do you wish to oppose the Daily Royal family? With a loud shout, Wei Lanchen leaps into the air, holding a dragon pattern token representing the royal identity. The token is of top-grade magic treasure form, suppressing this area of the world. Lu Cheng, the royal sacrifice, also steps forward, openly releasing his powerful cultivation aura of the Taoist platform realm. The terrifying momentum spreads like a violent storm, making it difficult for the present cultivators to breathe, their faces filled with astonishment. Sixth Prince. Why is the Delhi dynasty here too? Fools! The Delhi dynasty has been pursuing dragon veins. Their presence here is no surprise. Upon seeing Wei Lanchen's face, several cultivators' momentum is immediately suppressed. Although the Wei royal dynasty had long declined, a dead camel is still larger than a horse. As the rightful authority of the world, it still held some intimidation among the righteous sects. Wei Lanchen sighed with relief, Seeing the situation subdued, he immediately wanted to take the dragon vein crystal fruit. However, not all righteous sects feared the royal name, such as Boom! With the thunderous roar, the clouds in the sky dome gathered to form a massive hand, reaching for the dragon vein crystal fruit in mid-air. A middle-aged man revealed his figure, staring intently at the dragon vein crystal fruit, blatantly ignoring Wei Lanshan's warning. It's Elder Dong from Guanchao Pavilion. Many cultivators recognized the identity of the newcomer, Elder Dong Yu of Guanchao Pavilion, who had announced its seclusion, a formidable figure at the seventh realm of Taoist platform. Bam! Before the cloud hand could fall, a flying sword vertically and horizontally cut the giant hand in half. A light flew from the flying sword, rushing directly towards the dragon vein crystal fruit. Master Li Yuza of the 10,000 Sword Alliance. He's here as well. Gasps filled the air, and apart from Wei Lanshan's darkened face, the other cultivators retreated. The aftershocks from these powerful individuals' clash were not something they could meddle in. Elder Dong, for our old friendship's sake, please let me have the dragon vein crystal fruit. Li Yuza sped towards the dragon vein crystal fruit. Although his 10,000 Sword Alliance had perished, the dragon vein crystal fruit could elevate the spirit vein to a dragon vein, enabling the revival of the alliance, making the fruit indispensable to him. I'm sorry, Master Li. The dragon vein crystal fruit is destined to belong to our Guanchao Pavilion. Dong Yu wouldn't yield a single step, flying towards the dragon vein crystal fruit. The fruit concerned the revival of the ancestor, and he had an equally critical reason not to give it up. Li Yuza wielded the Sky Eagle sword, with sword chi intertwining with nothing it couldn't cut. Dong Yu remained calm, countering only with magic, raising huge waves beneath him, using softness to conquer hardness, swallowing all the sword chi. Wei Lanshan's face was gloomy. These two paid him no heed at all, starting to compete brazenly. Unconsciously, Wei Lanshan turned to look at the royal sacrifice Lu Cheng. Can't fight, can't go. Before Wei Lanshan could speak, Lu Cheng waved his hands repeatedly. His cultivation was nowhere near capable of joining such a battle. If he went up to snatch it, it was no different than taking food from a tiger's mouth. If the others disrespected the royal family and killed him on the spot, it would be entirely normal. Wei Lanshan felt even more frustrated. The storm-laden Dali dynasty couldn't provide much support. It was already an achievement to have Lu Cheng on standby, as the local forces were now far stronger than Dali's dynasty. Damn it! If only the Dali dynasty were at its peak. How dare you be so presumptuous? Wei Lanshan cursed silently, fingering the gold-plated bracelet on his left hand, an innate spiritual object. When the Dali dynasty was at its height, which sects dared to provoke Dali? Each one was obedient and respectful, unlike now. Whoever dared show their royal family such disrespect. The confrontation between Li Yuza and Dong Yu reached a fever pitch, clashing fiercely over the dragon vein crystal fruit. But just then, from within the crowd, a gaping maw shot skyward, attempting to swallow the dragon vein crystal fruit in one gulp. The thousand-hand centipede burst from the ground, its several hundred-meter-long body like a small mountain, its ferocity intimidating the surrounding cultivators, causing them to turn pale.
Itsuye.
Seeing the young man standing on the head of the thousand-hand centipede, the nearby cultivators scattered in a rush. Even more than fearing Li Yuza and Dong Yu, Su Jie's terrifying reputation had long spread across the world through numerous battles, making these cultivators tremble with fear at his presence, causing them to flee for their lives. Li Yuza and Dong Yu were surprised, exchanging glances, immediately redirecting their focus to Su Jie, for both had blood-sea enmity with him. Su Jie grinned, his Chaos Dharma form manifesting behind him, the solo eye flickering, with a glorious ray shooting toward the dragon vein crystal fruit. Crack! In an instant, the dragon vein crystal fruit shattered into 3 pieces, flying in different directions. Everyone, determine for yourselves whether pursuing me or obtaining the dragon vein crystal fruit is more important. If you don't take it now, it'll end up in the hands of the Dali royal family. Su Jie smiled at the two, his expression calm. Li Yuza and Dong Yu, who were initially fervent in hunting Su Jie down, suddenly paused, then each turned, flying towards a piece of the dragon vein crystal fruit. Clearly, the dragon vein crystal fruit was more important than chasing Su Jie. They both understood how difficult it was to kill Su Jie, as winning was easy, but killing was too challenging. Time wasted on Su Jie would only make the dragon vein crystal fruit available to others. Seeing this, Su Jie laughed, moving with the thousand-hand centipede beneath him, also heading for a fragment of the dragon vein crystal fruit. The thousand-hand centipede opened its mouth, catching up with the fruit fragment, swallowing it whole into its belly, claiming it for itself, and then quickly burrowing into the ground in preparation to escape. The chaos on Qilong Mountain gradually subsided. As Li Yuze and Dong Yu quickly departed, the scene slowly quieted down. Without the dragon vein crystal fruit, the source of the chaos, cultivators naturally had nothing to fight over, eliminating the conflict of life and death battles. Standing on the head of the thousand-hand centipede, Su Jie was just about to leave when he saw Wei Lanqin and Lu Chang, two acquaintances, standing ahead. "Sir, please stay. We are willing to purchase the dragon vein crystal fruit for a price. Just name it," Wei Lanqin said casually, while Lu Chang beside him looked wary and extremely tense. "You can't afford it. Once something is in my pocket, there's no reason to give it back." Su Jie didn't bother addressing Wei Lanqin, patted the head of the thousand-hand centipede, and flew toward the horizon. Wei Lanqin's face turned black, and he couldn't help but grit his teeth, saying, "Are you really trying to oppose our royal family? Might Wei royal family." However, before Wei Lanqin could finish his sentence, Su Jie suddenly turned around, raising an eyebrow. "Are you threatening me? This is bad." Lu Cheng's heart pounded wildly, an ominous feeling arising within. Wei Lanqin's expression also tightened as he heard Su Jie coldly laugh. "You didn't dare threaten Dong Yu and Li Yuze, yet you dare threaten me. Do you think I'm easier to bully?" Seeing Wei Lanqin brazenly standing in front of him talking big, Su Jie's eyes narrowed. The thousand-hand centipede beneath him swiveled around, heading straight toward Wei Lanqin. The terrifying might of the top grade 8 refinement goo worm raged like a storm, causing Wei Lanqin and Lu Chang to retreat continuously. Especially Wei Lanqin, who was only at the secret realm level, felt as if he was a flying insect caught in a spider's web when the cold eyes of the thousand-hand centipede fixed on him, panic sweeping through every inch of his being. Roar! The thousand-hand centipede roared, its face splitting open as purple light rays shot out like an impenetrable laser net, instantly covering the space ahead. "Your Highness, be careful." Lu Chang hurriedly shielded Wei Lanqin, wielding a magical treasure, the money sword. The sword chi transformed into dazzling golden rune coins, forming a spiritual energy barrier to try blocking the purple light rays. But with only third level of Taoist platform cultivation, he underestimated the power of the thousand-hand centipede. It's known that even Han Ruyan wouldn't want to face the centipede's attack head-on, its violent attacks being incredibly exaggerated. With a sizzling sound, purple light rays burned through the air, leaving white marks and blue smoke. They pierced through the money sword's defense in an instant. Even though Lu Chang dodged the critical areas, the breakthrough ray still left several deep bloody holes on his body, staining his clothes with blood. Boom! The fierce tyrant, the thousand-hand centipede, rushed forward. Hundreds of its pale corpse hands slithered and began to strike down continuously. Swish, 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 swish. Lu Chang controlled the money sword to turn into a forest of myriad swords. Countless golden copper coins sword chi, each able to pierce through walls of steel, couldn't genuinely threaten the thousand-hand centipede significantly. Its evolution to a Tao chaos creature rendered its defense equally astonishing. Brute force, destructive enough to collapse mountains and smash peaks, erupted on the thousand-hand centipede, causing the relentless pounding by its countless pale corpse hands. This left Lu Cheng's arms weak, and soon, his arms fractured, blood spurting from his mouth mixed with bits of his internal organs. It said 2 fists can't resist 4 hands, not to mention the 100 pale corpse hands of the thousand-hand centipede. They weren't even in the same class. In less than half a minute of confrontation, Lu Chang was battered into retreat after retreat by the thousand-hand centipede, entirely outmatched. As for Wei Lanchen, the sixth prince of the De Wei dynasty, he finally realized he had provoked someone he couldn't afford to provoke, regret welling up inside him as he continuously stepped back. Su, Senior Su, my earlier actions were just a careless mistake and certainly not meant to threaten you. You've misunderstood. Wei Lanchen hastily explained. Since Su Jie appeared too young, the sense of intimidation wasn't strong enough for him. Consequently, he tried to negotiate with Su Jie for the Dragon Vein crystal fruit. Yet Su Jie, this devil, gave no face to their De Wei dynasty. He. Su Jie stood in the void, reaching a giant hand toward Wei Lanchen. A careless mistake? Why didn't you have a careless mistake with Li Yuze and Dong Yu? Don't worry, I won't kill you, but there's nothing wrong with collecting a little interest for speaking out of line. Su Jie fixed his gaze on Wei Lanchen's waist storage bag, thinking that as a prince of the De Wei dynasty, he might have a substantial wealth. You! Wei Lanchen's face suddenly changed, instinctively raising his right wrist with the gold-plated bracelet, shaking his arm as it jingled melodiously. The next moment, a gold-plated bracelet appeared on each of Su Jie's limbs, as if shackles, locking Su Jie's body and the flow of spiritual power within. An innate spiritual object, you still have such a good treasure. Su Jie's eyes lit up, happy to have stumbled on such a valuable item from Wei Lanchen. While talking, Su Jie's body expanded and split, turning into a sea of blood. Even though his spiritual power was locked, Su Jie's blood sea was essentially a drop of holy blood from within him. A regular cultivator might truly be locked, as would cultivators below the 5th level of Taoist platform. The surging blood sea blotted out the sky and sun, rendering the innate spiritual object's gold-plated bracelets ineffective. Could lock human limbs, but how could it lock this vast blood sea? If it were such a high-level innate spiritual object, it wouldn't have ended up with Wei Lanchen. He. If you have more treasures, bring them out. Su Jie's massive human face emerged in the blood sea, surrounding Wei Lanchen completely, leaving him no way to flee. You devil. Wei Lanchen's lips trembled. His greatest trump card was instantly broken by Su Jie. He had heard of Su Jie's extraordinarily glorious battle records, but only upon facing him did he realize that those rumors were not the least bit exaggerated. This person was even more terrifying than many Taoist platform realm experts he had encountered. Bam! A tidal wave of the blood sea surged high, and Su Jie's figure emerged within the waves. Then, with a slap, he struck Wei Lanchen's face, sending him tumbling several times, with a few teeth flying out. So much nonsense. You should have been prepared for this when you provoked me. Su Jie grabbed Wei Lanchen, and without another word, delivered several consecutive slaps, turning his handsome little face into something resembling a pig's head. Then, he reached out and seized the gold-plated bracelet on Wei Lanchen's wrist, forcibly pulling it off. Wei Lanchen, like a humiliated young wife, could only watch as his innate spiritual object was snatched away by Su Jie, tears of humiliation or pain streaming down his face. This exotic treasure seems destined for me, so I'll keep it for now. Su Jie happily stored away the gold-plated bracelet, then took the storage bag from Wei Lanchen's waist. With a sweep of his divine sense over the storage bag, it wasn't as rich as he had imagined. The quantity of various spiritual materials, elixirs, and spirit stones was not much, only worth about several million spirit stones. For an ordinary secret realm cultivator, this would be considered immense wealth. However, for Wei Lanchen, a prince of the Dali dynasty, this fortune seemed somewhat paltry. Su Jie couldn't help but pout, expressing his dissatisfaction. Are you really a prince? How come you have so little? Just a pauper. How do you even qualify as a prince? Hearing this, Wei Lanchen retorted, if I had money, would I be given this task and sent all the way to Qing province? Now, the Dali dynasty was in a turbulent state. The Wei royal family's position was unstable, talents were dwindling, and economic difficulties abounded. taxes from various places were heavily intercepted by local authorities. Each year, just to support the large number of royal family members living in luxury, the expenses incurred were massive debts. As an unspoiled prince like Wei Lanqin, he naturally had few resources and very few ministers to rely on, so he had to secure achievements by himself. Having a family background worth several million was already considered Wei Lanqin being frugal and efficient with his home. Unfortunately, he was unlucky to encounter Su Jie, this devil, allowing all his hard-earned assets to fall into Su Jie's hands. "Oh, so you're a peripheral prince with no chance at the throne. No wonder you're so poor," Su Jie remarked thoughtfully. It made sense. If he were one of those princes competing for the throne, it wouldn't be so easy just to send someone from the Taoist platform realm alone for their travels. "Bastard! What do you know, you devil? You dare rob me? You've provoked our Deli dynasty, and our royal family will not let you off. You've landed yourself in big trouble." Wei Lanqin felt an intense shame and anger. Although what Su Jie said was true, hearing the blunt truth made him feel defenseless. "You are a fallen prince. Do you think the royal family will stand up for you? Keep blabbing, and I'll take you to auction." Su Jie sneered, and Wei Lanqin immediately feared into silence. Su Jie's infamous talent auctions were all too famous. If Wei Lanqin were really taken for auction by Su Jie, his reputation for this entire lifetime would be irrecoverable. He would be the first prince in the history of Dili dynasty to be auctioned off. Just imagining such a scene made him wish he could find a hole to disappear into. It would truly be a disgrace beyond repair. I'll give you all the money, all of it, just let me go." Wei Lanqin no longer dared struggle. Compared to a lifetime reputation, money could be earned again. But once tainted with being auctioned, such a stain could never be washed clean. Very well, a wise man submits to circumstances.
Su Jie smiled contentedly.
Of course, he wouldn't really auction off Wei Lanqin. Doing so would openly offend the royal family. No matter how little weight Wei Lanqin held in the Wei royal family, they would choose to stand up for him, because this concerned the dignity of the entire royal family. And according to Su Jie's knowledge, there still was a Purple Mansion realm great power presiding over the Dili dynasty. They just wouldn't easily leave Dili city. Su Jie didn't want to invite such trouble upon himself, especially since he already gained the benefits. At this moment, the thousand-hand centipede returned, carrying Lu Cheng's body in its mouth. This Taoist platform realm expert had half of his bones broken, resembling a dead dog as the thousand-hand centipede dragged him back. Clearly, in the fight against the thousand-hand centipede, he had been thoroughly battered. "Well done, Xiao Qian." Su Jie scratched the thousand-hand centipede's chin, then collected Lu Cheng's money sword and storage bag, and kicked Lu Cheng to fly into Wei Lanqin's arms, making the two roll about into a pile. "Remember, next time, be more careful in choosing alliances. Don't provoke someone you can't afford to offend. Others won't be as forgiving as I am." Su Jie climbed atop the thousand-hand centipede's head, leaving with these words. The thousand-hand centipede took off on the wind, carrying Su Jie into the clouds, disappearing from their sight. "Pa, you call this being agreeable? I'm going to tell the imperial sister. Tell the emperor." Wei Lanqin stomped his feet in anger, his face turning an iron blue. Su Jie stripped him of everything, this bandit-like conduct, even robbing a prince, and yet he dared to say he was agreeable. "Sixth prince, stop cursing. He's not far off and can still hear you." Lu Cheng stood to the side with a dejected look, glaring at Wei Lanqin, wanting to beat him up if not for his status. Had Wei Lanqin not stirred up trouble, he wouldn't have been ransacked by Su Jie. What a mess this was! Wei Lanqin's eye twitched slightly. Although still resentful, he didn't dare to scold any more from his heart. The two of them exchanged a glance, then turned their heads away again, both looking disgracefully bruised and battered. On the back of the thousand-handed centipede, Su Jie had it spit out the dragon vein crystal fruit, placing it in his palm to carefully examine. The exterior of the dragon vein crystal fruit appeared unremarkable, but once divine sense penetrated it, one could sense a terrifying golden ocean. It was a highly condensed special spiritual power. Su Jie attempted to draw out some of it, and immediately the spiritual energy within a radius of several dozen miles surged violently, as if a drop of water had been dropped into a boiling oil pan, causing the spiritual energy to boil. Su Jie absorbed the boiling spiritual energy. The absorption efficiency was several times higher than before. The rolling spiritual power continuously merged into Su Jie's body, requiring almost no refinement to be absorbed by the meridians. If spiritual energy is like flour, then the dragon vein crystal fruit is akin to yeast. Its presence acts on the spiritual energy, making it more rich, refined, and easily absorbable among other effects. Not only that, Su Jie slightly closed his eyes, feeling more in tune with this world, experiencing a mysterious sensing of unity of heaven and man. His comprehension significantly enhanced, which was extremely useful in breaking through realms. No wonder the cultivators present at the time went crazy for the dragon vein crystal fruit. If placed into a sect spirit vein, it would enhance the entire sect's foundation. Calling it a sect treasure is not an exaggeration. It's a pity I didn't obtain a whole one back then. Su Jie sighed regretfully. At the Qingzhou Tide-Watching Pavilion, someone let out a sigh as well. In a statuary hall, Dong Yu, the great elder of the Qingzhou Tide-Watching Pavilion, knelt on the ground, recounting the events at Qilong Mountain one by one, sighing, "Master, this disciple is incompetent, and only obtained this piece of dragon vein crystal fruit." On the high platform, the eyes of a deity statue seemed to open, a heavy pressure radiating out. "One Piece, your recent actions have been very disappointing to me." From within the statue, a dull, hoarse, cold voice emerged. Dong Yu lowered his head further, smiling bitterly. "It's my dereliction of duty, failing to lead the Qingzhou Tide-Watching Pavilion well, falling into Su Jie's trap, resulting in significant losses for the Supreme Elder." The statue gazed at Dong Yu, who knelt without daring to move. After a minute of silence, the statue emitted a cracking sound. "Su Jie, is it? I'll remember that name. When one day I revive and be reborn, it will be the day of his demise." Dong Yu quickly responded, agreeing, "Master is right. When you return, you will surely lead the Qingzhou Tide-Watching Pavilion back to glory and wipe out the Ghost Ridge Palace." The dragon vein crystal fruit in front of Dong Yu floated up, and a grotesque, ominous light shadow emerged from the statue. It was a Dharma manifestation that only a purple mansion realm yang god could condense, although usually not this small. The Dharma manifestation swiftly drilled into the dragon vein crystal fruit, using it for nurturing. Dong Yu reverently placed the dragon vein crystal fruit back onto the high platform, then cautiously retreated. As the room door closed, the hall plunged back into darkness and silence, with only the dragon vein crystal fruit flickering with faint glow inside, like it was breathing or a heart beating, as if something terrifying was slowly being nurtured within it. Time flies like an arrow, and a week passed in the blink of an eye. The major events happening across the world gradually spread towards the center of the Dali dynasty as time went by. Dali City. This is a grand city with a population of 3 million. The structures in the city are towering and spectacular, with palaces and pavilions reaching into the clouds, red walls and green tiles, golden splendor, exuding a majestic aura. Every road is wide and smooth, paved with stone slabs, flanked by lush trees, bustling with traffic. Outside the city, there are numerous temples and Taoist monasteries with flourishing incense offerings. Buddha statues within the temples are solemn, and the sound of chanting is constant. Some Taoist masters publicly preach the Tao, creating an atmosphere of solemn tranquility. As the capital of the Dali dynasty, this is the most prosperous place in the world. The streets lined with shops, offering a dazzling array of goods. There are wealthy gentlemen in silk clothing, martial arts people wearing long swords and short blades, and cultivators with aloof demeanor and bright eyes. While the people across the 16 states of the Dali dynasty struggle for survival, Dali City remains a scene of lavish banquets and extravagant revelry. Even in the nearest cities to Dali City, there are refugees fleeing from famine in groups, yet these refugees cannot enter the bounds of Dali City, being kept outside by the benevolent lords of the Delhi dynasty who cannot bear to see such human tragedy. As evening falls, a river runs through Delhi city, with green willows hanging by its banks, and pleasure boats cruising upon it. The boats are brightly lit, with melodious cheen sounds, colorful lanterns hanging high, reflecting ripples on the surrounding water. Each boat has different styles, representing the sect forces behind them. On the boats are talented disciples from sects all over the Delhi dynasty, with numerous boats forming a circle by sticking close to each other, linking head to tail. Many cultivators wander on the boats, engaging in spirited discussions, debating scriptures and Tao, some even fiercely arguing or sparring on the river surface, creating a lively atmosphere. Ha ha ha, that's truly his style, as cheeky as ever. On one of the boats, a graceful silhouette sat at the edge of the deck. The girl wore a verdant long dress, the breeze ruffling her hair to reveal a face with bright eyes and white teeth. So exquisite it seemed to be a carefully crafted porcelain by a master, her skin delicate like condensing fat. At this moment, the corners of the girl's eyes slightly lifted, sketching a charming yet playful curve, akin to a crescent hanging gently in the night sky, her joyful emotions visible to the naked eye. Ning Xinyue held a residence report in her hands, a novelty that had appeared in Delhi city in recent years, able to present the affairs of the world on a single paper, enjoying high sales in Delhi city with a high literacy rate. Currently, the latest issue of the residence report Ning Xinyue read featured headlines about a series of mischievous operations by Su Jie in Qing province. Among them, even the raiding of the sixth prince by Su Jie was detailed in full, causing her to laugh joyfully. There were many other cultivators around, all reading their residence reports, but each wore differing expressions. Most frowned, uncomfortable with allowing a devilish immortal seed to be so arrogant, stealing the limelight, making the present righteous sect talented disciples feel uneasy. This Su Jie devil has appeared on the top headlines several times in the residence report. He's truly energetic, hardly stopping for a moment. Such a reckless and wanton devil, humph. I see he's asking for trouble. Watching him build up his empire, watching him host guests, watching it fall apart. Occasionally, a few geniuses from the demon path pop up, but soon disappear. Two flamboyant ones don't last long. These talented sect cultivators discussed among themselves, displaying disdain towards the demon-like Su Jie and did not hold him in regard. TCH, you secret realm cultivators, how can you reasonably judge a Taoist platform realm demon path powerhouse? Ning Xinyue smirked, speaking arrogantly with a crisp voice. The talented cultivators present immediately showed dissatisfaction, then turned, ready to teach the ignorant youngster a lesson. But upon seeing Ning Xinyue, their mouths twitched slightly. Despite Ning Xinyue's youthful appearance, she was already at secret realm 5th level cultivation, and many present had been beaten by this mischievous girl. Many of these talents hadn't reached a cultivation as high as Ning Xinyue's, and with the numerous treasures in this girl's hands, her Vajra bracelet heavier than 10,000 pounds, collecting soldiers and striking people without fail, many had been dealt with by her. Gradually, Ning Xinyue earned the title of being the foremost below the Taoist platform realm within Delhi city. However, this was not universally recognized, many believing Ning Xinyue relied on her treasures, not true ability. It's not that geniuses haven't taken a dislike to Ning Xinyue. Among them, some have reached the Taoist platform realm, wanting to teach her a lesson, but the key point is, Ning Xinyue can summon help. One must know, Ning Xinyue's sister suppresses the cultivators among the Delhi dynasty's younger generation. None can withstand 3 rounds against her sister. Those wishing to bully her were made obedient by a mere slap from her sister. While speaking, more footsteps approached. A man and woman slowly arrived, the man being the 6th prince of the Delhi dynasty, Wei Lanchen, who was at the center of the topic storm. The woman was tall with jet-black hair tied neatly with golden silk behind her head, a few strands casually hanging. Instead of wearing the beautiful robes and dresses of ordinary women, she wore a set of golden armor, the shining armor closely fitting her slender body, appearing valiant and spirited, yet not losing the graceful lines of femininity. Eldest princess. Upon seeing this valiant and beautiful woman, The cultivators present spoke one after another, their faces showing respect, because she was the true genius of the Wei royal dynasty, Wei Yushuang. Endowed with the heavenly star true phoenix divine body, she exhibited extraordinary talent. Coupled with the unwavering support and cultivation resources from the royal family, Wei Yushuang broke through to the Taoist platform realm by the age of 20, becoming the proud symbol of the Wei royal family, recognized for her purple mansion potential. In the confrontations among the younger generation, she achieved brilliant battle records, defeating countless enemies. Since childhood, she had only lost once and was the pride and jewel of the Wei royal family's eye, far surpassing the likes of the sixth prince, Wei Lanchen. Wei Yushuang slightly nodded and said, "Apologies, my sixth brother encountered some issues, causing everyone to laugh." Wei Lanchen's face was bright red, a result of his embarrassment. However, recalling what the emperor had said earlier, he forced himself to say, "Su Jie, this demon, possesses formidable cultivation, mastering the Blood Sea secret technique, Flying Centipede, and Ghost Bride, ranking among the top in the Taoist platform realm. I was overly complacent and lost face for the royal family, and it's all my fault." The scene fell silent for a few seconds. In consideration of Wei Yushuang's reputation, no one dared to mock him. Instead, they offered words of comfort. "Your Highness the Sixth Prince, that Su Jie acts despicably, achieving his ends by any means. Coupled with his far superior cultivation, this was not a fight destined to be won, so you need not take it to heart. That Su Jie may be rampant for a time, but if he were to encounter the eldest princess, he absolutely could not remain so arrogantly unbridled and would be properly subdued. Although this demon possesses some skill, he only wreaks havoc around Qingzhou, knowing that Dali City runs deep with numerous talents, so he dares not act recklessly in Delhi City." These cultivators flattered Wei Yushuang, and many among them held a tinge of admiration in their gazes, though they dared not express it openly. Wei Yushuang cupped her hands and said, "You overpraise me. Su Jie is not an unknown figure, and I am not completely confident in defeating him. However, as the eldest princess of the Delhi dynasty, I bear the heavy responsibility of protecting Delhi City. If he dares to come to Delhi City, I will not allow him to run rampant here." Ning Xinyue, upon hearing this, couldn't help but giggle, which was somewhat conspicuous in the quiet scene. Wei Yushuang turned her gaze to see Ning Xinyue and momentarily paused. It wasn't that she feared Ning Xinyue, but she cared about the one standing behind Ning Xinyue. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I didn't say you couldn't beat Su Jie." Ning Xinyue covered her mouth with one hand and waved the other, indicating she meant no offense, but anyone could see her behavior expressed disbelief in Wei Yushuang's ability. Just as Wei Yushuang was about to speak, a voice came from afar. "Xiaoye, have you played enough?" The voice was ethereal and elegant. The crowd turned their gaze toward the sound, spotting a woman under a willow tree by the riverside, standing gracefully in a plain white veil dress under the hazy moonlight. When the night wind gently brushed by, her long hair drifted lightly, cascading like a waterfall of black silk, accentuating her bright and fair complexion like jade. Her eyes were deep black and profound, as if they could peer into the abyss of the heart, yet clear as autumn water, exuding a transcendent peace and calmness. "It's Ning Yunying. Her sister has arrived. This female devil, be more cautious." All the cultivators present felt a surge of unrest upon seeing the woman by the river. This unrest wasn't due to her unparalleled beauty, but because of her terrifying combat prowess. The Ning family sisters, from outside the Delhi dynasty, were like great white sharks entering a small pond. Particularly the elder sister, Ning Yunying, whose actions were overbearing and disdainful of others. Upon entering Delhi City, she set up a dojo, accepting challenges from anyone of the same age. For 10 days, hundreds of geniuses from various sects couldn't manage a successful challenge, even using a relay battle, continuously defeated by her. She had even once overturned 12 sects in a single day, a feat both astonishing and earth-shattering. Throughout the Delhi dynasty, she was invincible, defeating countless prodigies. Many of the cultivators present had challenged Ning Yunying, only to be defeated in one move, and their expressions showed this unpleasant reminder when they saw her. Ning Yunying, if you have some time, let's spar again. Seeing Ning Yunying, a strong fighting spirit suddenly radiated from Wei Yushuang, causing waves to rise on the river surface, with the fish and shrimp below seemingly lacking oxygen, jumping out of the water repeatedly. The nearby cultivators only felt as if their chests were pressed by a giant stone, hardly daring to breathe. Wei Yushuang's mind and body were fully focused on Ning Yunying by the riverbank, her fighting spirit surging, her entire being like an unsheathed sharp sword, radiating edge. For this woman named Ning Yunying was the only peer to have defeated her, marking her only defeat. Before meeting Ning Yunying, Wei Yushuang was renowned as invincible in the same realm, unmatched worldwide. Yet when she encountered Ning Yunying, it was one thing that the opponent's cultivation was higher, but Ning compressed her spiritual power to Wei's level, defeating her openly and fairly. This matter lingered like a nightmare, constantly entwined in Wei Yushuang's mind, making her always desire to surpass Ning Yunying. Ning Xinyue nudged towards Wei Yushuang, saying, "You can't even beat Su Jie, and you still want to defeat my sister? That's impossible." After speaking, she lightly tapped her foot, skimming the water like a dragonfly. Her jade-like feet lightly touched the wide river surface a few times before floating back to the shore, arriving beside Ning Yunying. Wei Yushuang gazed intently at Ning Yunying, unfazed by Ning Xinyue's words. She didn't consider any other peer besides Ning Yunying worthy of her attention, as Ning was her sole lifelong rival. Ning Yunying, sensing Wei Yushuang's fervent gaze, ruffled her sister's hair, saying indifferently, "Forget about sparring. You still need to practice." Though unspoken, the meaning in and out of her words was unmistakably clear. Currently, Wei Yushuang did not motivate her to spar again. Still need to practice. Wei Yushuang bit her thin red lip, unable to hold back, saying, "It seems my effort and sweat aren't enough yet. People say you sisters are the strongest geniuses. Since you urge me to continue practicing harder, I will pour everything into catching up with you. Meanwhile, please also strive, for I want to face you at your strongest." Ning Xinyue pouted, shouting with her hands cupped around her mouth, "Genius or whatever. Don't use genius to negate my effort. I've worked hard to achieve my current cultivation." Conversely, Ning Yunying was expressionless, saying indifferently, "Effort? Don't use effort to negate my genius." Ning Xinyue's face fell, pouting, "Wow, sister, what you said made me lose face. Just speaking the truth." Ning Yunying tapped her sister's forehead, showing a faint smile as her sister cried out in pain. Hearing the two sisters' conversation, the cultivating audience was left speechless. Only those who had genuinely interacted with them understood Ning Yunying's value. Every cultivator on the pleasure boat was hailed as a genius, some even the divine son and saintess of their sex, the most gifted prodigies. But upon arriving in Delhi City and meeting Ning Yunying, these worldly recognized geniuses, who spent a lifetime training to become their sex pride, were merely insignificant losers under the arena, becoming one among hundreds of similarly named genius failures, defeated by Ning Yunying, unremarkable and insignificant, breaking many people's Tao heart. What is called a genius is merely the threshold to meet Ning Yunying. What my sister just said was very true. Su Jie of Qingzhou's demon path is not bad. If you want to catch up with me, first try to defeat him." Ning Yunying addressed Wei Yushuang, and after these words, Ning Yunying gradually moved away with her sister, disappearing into the night.
Su Jie.
Is this person really that strong? Even she values him. Unfortunately, I cannot leave Delhi City recently. Otherwise, I would really want to meet this devil. Wei Yushuang murmured to herself, feeling a complex and unclear mood. Watching Ning Yunying's vanishing silhouette, her past pride was lost in that spar. Later, Wei Yushuang vowed to defeat Ning Yunying once, though now there seemed to be no hope of success. She considered Ning Yunying her lifelong enemy, believing Ning thought the same. But judging from Ning Yunying's earlier words, she seemed to value Su Jie even more than herself. which made Wei Yushuang feel a touch of defiance. For the name Su Jie, Wei Yushuang firmly kept it in mind, secretly deciding to face Su Jie if given a chance. She would prove to Ning Yunying that Su Jie could not be her match. Only Wei Yushuang, was Ning Yunying's sole rival in this life. Qingzhou, Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie stood in front of the main hall at the mountain gate. Before the hall, on the open ground, there was a deep pit leading straight into the depths underground. Standing around were the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, Zhang Junwei, Tang Peiqing, Taoist Qiu and other elders, along with numerous disciples, all staring intently at the pit. Su Jie had returned from Qing province 3 days ago, and after briefly discussing the battle situation with Zhang Junwei, he tirelessly continued to work for the development of Ghost Ridge Palace. The current pit before them was Su Jie's creation. Suddenly, a commotion came from the pit. The thousand-hand centipede, covered in mud, crawled out of the pit, shook its body, and made a hissing sound towards Su Jie. Su Jie smiled and said to Zhang Junwei, "Sect Master, it's done." "Really, let me see." Zhang Junwei quickly walked to the edge of the pit, where he saw a glow of spiritual energy like fireflies emanating from the depth of the pit. That was the underground spirit vein being unearthed, revealing itself to the world. Su Jie took out the dragon vein crystal fruit from his storage bag and tossed it into the underground pit. When the dragon vein crystal fruit kept descending and fell into the spirit vein, it was as if the most dazzling divine light erupted from underground, forming an incomparably rich spiritual energy in a 5-colored glow, spreading like a fountain from the ground beneath, spreading towards the 4 directions of the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace. Above the sky dome of Ghost Ridge Palace, an illusory true dragon silhouette appeared, with lifelike scale armor, prominent dragon horns, and icy dragon eyes. Legend has it that the origin of dragon veins came from the corpses of deceased true dragons, deeply buried underground, year after year, being permeated by the underground spirit veins, eventually forming dragon veins in the world. Previously, Su Jie did not believe such rumors, but now seeing the illusory true dragon in the sky dome, he doubted a little. Before the main hall, every cultivator who saw this illusory true dragon, all gasped. A powerful pressure covered over. Some outer disciples with weaker cultivation were even directly pressed to the ground, unable to stand up at all. However, the secret realm elders were the opposite. As soon as this illusory true dragon appeared, each one's eyes shone brightly. Only the elders could feel the existence of this illusory true dragon, which contained a trace of Tao comprehension that other disciples could not perceive. Those in the secret realm who had cultivated a primordial spirit and could connect with the Tao River could clearly understand the personal benefit of this illusory true dragon. "Everyone, sit and cultivate," Zhang Junwei said, then sat cross-legged himself. This was the first activation of the underground spirit vein, influenced by the dragon vein crystal fruit, causing the spirit vein to transform into a dragon vein. The underground spirit vein is the river of spiritual energy in the Tianyuan world, while the dragon vein is even more the root of spiritual energy. When the spirit vein transforms into a dragon vein, to some extent, it is the manifestation of the principles of heaven and earth. Cultivating and comprehending here could greatly help one's cultivation growth and breakthrough in realm. The surrounding disciples and elders all sat cross-legged, the seating position varying with identity and status. Su Jie also sat cross-legged, with his status placing him naturally in the central position, constantly feeling the vast and mighty pure spiritual energy sweeping across. With every breath, his cells cheered, making his body particularly excited and active. On his primordial spirit, Su Jie's primordial spirit continuously observed the illusory true dragon in the sky dome, an endless stream of complex knowledge pouring into Su Jie's mind. This knowledge was all related to the Tao, like universal formulas, directly allowing one to understand the cultivation techniques, magic, artifacts, and other related matters from their essence. Of course, because of the incomplete rules of the Tao, the human primordial spirit couldn't bear it, so each person could harvest something different based on their individual comprehension. Like Su Jie, an elder of the God unification level, who could directly observe with his primordial spirit The secret realm elders and disciples could only observe with their naked eyes, otherwise they risked damaging their primordial spirit. Su Jie slowly closed his eyes, devoting himself to cultivation. Time passed minute by minute. In just 1 hour, changes began to occur. I have broken through. I've advanced to the 6th level of Yunling realm, haha. I can become an inner sect disciple now. I've broken through 3 levels. I feel like I have a lot more knowledge in my mind. Ha ha ha. I've succeeded in breaking through to the secret realm, thanks to the Holy Sun for bringing the dragon vein, which was a huge help. Some of the first to awaken disciples were overwhelmingly delighted, seemingly mad, with some even breaking through 3 levels in Yunling realm, and some inner disciples at Yunling realm directly broke through to the secret realm, stepping up from a disciple to an elder. More and more disciples awoke at the scene. Even some with poor comprehension didn't break through, but their spiritual power increased significantly, not without gains. The illusory true dragon in the sky dome grew fainter, and after several more hours, the high ranks of Ghost Ridge Palace also awakened, opening their eyes from the miraculous sudden enlightenment. The realm increased by 1 level. Zhang Junwei lowered his head to look at himself, his face beaming with joy. The cultivation of the Taoist platform realm required much painstaking effort to break through 1 level, yet unexpectedly, today, a single sudden enlightenment achieved a realm breakthrough. Rumble. The sky suddenly covered with layers of dark clouds, with lightning like silver snakes shuttling within, striking down towards a spot in the main hall. The nearby elders and disciples were startled and scattered away. Only one person sat calmly in his original place. That was an old man with white hair and beard. He was the great elder of Ghost Ridge Palace, Tang Peiqing, a strong cultivator of Secret Realm 5th level, and the most senior elder of Ghost Ridge Palace. Bolts of lightning struck Tang Peiqing, charring his flesh, skin torn and flesh exposed. Is this Elder Tang breaking through to the Taoist platform realm? Zhang Junwei, upon seeing it, was the first to react, his face filled with ecstatic joy. The other elders also saw it, and their eyes were full of envy. Many of them had broken through realms. After all, compared to a disciple, the comprehension of those who can cultivate to the secret realm is not poor, and the gains from sudden enlightenment would naturally be high, allowing strength to break through a level. But the difference between secret realm and Taoist platform realm is a completely different concept. The former is the backbone of the sect, while the latter can act as the stabilizer of the sect. In many medium and large sects, often only the sect master possesses the cultivation of the Taoist platform realm, and some sects' sect masters are only at secret realm 5th level. Even in Qingzhou's top sect, Guanchao Pavilion, the number of strong individuals at the Taoist platform realm is only 7. It is conceivable how difficult it is to break through and ascend to the Taoist platform realm. The lightning tribulation continued to strike Tang Peiqing, lasting for almost half an hour, and Tang Peiqing ultimately endured the lightning tribulation. When the dark clouds dispersed above, as Tang Peiqing walked out, his cultivation had impressively advanced to the Taoist platform realm, becoming a 1st-level powerhouse in the Taoist platform realm. Ha! Elder Tang, congratulations on your advancement to the Taoist platform realm today. It's really a blessing for our Ghost Ridge Palace. Zhang Junwei's face blossomed into a chrysanthemum smile. He, Su Jie, plus Tang Peiqing who just advanced, Ghost Ridge Palace now has 3 Taoist platform realm. With the weakening of Guanchao Pavilion until now, it might be possible to compete for the title of Qingzhou's top sect. Being able to advance to the Taoist platform realm, I have to thank Su Jie. Without the dragon vein crystal fruit he brought back, I would not have encountered such an opportunity for enlightenment. Tang Peiqing looked at Su Jie, who was still sitting cross-legged and meditating, with eyes full of gratitude and continued emotion. I never would have thought. The junior I was once asked to take care of has grown to this extent. The future of Ghost Ridge Palace really depends on him. Taoist Chiu, you have truly raised a good disciple. Tang Peiqing watched Su Jie grow step by step. After becoming an immortal seed, Su Jie's progress speed accelerated even more. Those who had helped Su Jie in the past, such as himself, are now being taken care of by Su Jie. Such speed of progress is so fast that even Tang Peiqing, an experienced and knowledgeable senior elder, is filled with emotion. It's all thanks to Su Jie's own hard work. I just gave some minor pointers. It's not worth mentioning. Not worth mentioning. Taoist Chiu stroked his beard, humbly speaking, but his voice was like thunder, afraid others wouldn't know. You might be about to break through too. Tang Peiqing rolled his eyes, then glanced at Taoist Chiu a few times and said, It seems you've gained a lot too. The Taoist platform realm could be expected. Taoist Chiu was already one of the top-ranking elders in combat power at Ghost Ridge Palace, and now with a sudden enlightenment, it feels like there is a great hope to break through to the Taoist platform realm. It's uncertain. Don't praise me too much. Breaking through to the Taoist platform realm isn't that easy. Taoist Chiu waved his hand, but couldn't hide the smile on his face. Although he hadn't broken through to the Taoist platform realm, he had completely consolidated his secret realm 5th level cultivation, feeling that under the influence of the Dragon Vein in the coming years there is a great chance of crossing this step. While they were talking, in the sky, the illusory dragon shadow gradually faded and finally slowly disappeared into the air, which also meant the opportunity for enlightenment was coming to an end. At the last second of the illusory true dragon disappearing, Su Jie finally opened his eyes and awakened from the enlightenment. Su Jie suddenly opened his eyes. 2 beams of divine light burst forth, and there was an invisible wind swept around as he breathed, blowing many disciples off balance. Spiritual energy centered around Su Jie, forming a funnel shape, with massive amounts of spiritual energy pouring into Su Jie's body. Crack, crack. 2 crisp sounds simultaneously came from within Su Jie's body. The total amount of spiritual power inside him skyrocketed several times. Taoist platform realm 4th layer. Achieved. Su Jie clenched his fist. He directly broke through 2 levels in a row, reaching the Taoist platform realm 4th layer's cultivation in one breath. The cultivation breakthrough of the Taoist platform realm primarily focuses on the 7 orifices, and in this sudden enlightenment, Su Jie directly cleared the 7 orifices of his nose. Because the 2 nostrils of the human nose are interconnected, plus Su Jie's talent, Purple Cloud Thunder Body, and his strong primordial spirit, Su Jie's enlightenment yield was the most among everyone present, particularly choosing the nose to break through, allows him to break through 2 levels in one breath, achieving a rapid advancement in strength. Su Jie, what's this? Zhang Junwei and Tang Peiqing could most feel the change in Su Jie's strength. Just the oppressive aura was enough. Zhang Junwei was fine, while Tang Peiqing felt like a small fish in front of Su Jie, facing a ferocious hunter, the crocodile, completely unable to resist. Tang Peiqing understood that though he advanced to the Taoist platform realm, when it comes to strength, there is a gap like an abyss between him and Su Jie, completely incomparable. Even the current sect master Zhang Junwei is probably not a match for Su Jie anymore. Tang Peiqing thought this in his heart. From a practical standpoint, he didn't think Zhang Junwei could surpass Su Jie anymore. Su Jie, the Dragon Vein crystal fruit you brought to the sect has greatly increased the sect's foundation. You joining the Ghost Ridge Palace and becoming a disciple of Ghost Ridge Palace destined you to lead Ghost Ridge Palace to glory, so I have decided. Zhang Junwei took a deep breath, looking intently at Su Jie, and said, I have decided to transfer the position of sect master to Su Jie. Once these words came out, the expression of each cultivator present froze, followed by an uproar. This decision came too unexpectedly, catching them off guard. Su Jie himself was the same, but hearing this, he did not feel the excitement he imagined. Instead, he shook his head and said, Sect Master, there's no rush for this. With the opportunity of the Dragon Vein here, I need to focus my energy on the breakthroughs, striving to quickly break through to the Taoist platform realm 5th, 6th, 7th layer, and even the Purple Mansion realm. As for the position of Sect Master, Su Jie was not in a hurry to agree, because with the spirit vein beneath Ghost Ridge Palace transformed into a dragon vein, although there was no enlightenment, the vast spiritual power would be a period of rapid growth for Su Jie's strength in the coming years. Managing the sect would certainly consume his energy. Anyway, the position of Sect Master would be his sooner or later. He wasn't rushing for it now. The position of Sect Master belongs to you. Everyone in Ghost Ridge Palace is convinced by you. Zhang Junwei once again persuaded, seeing Su Jie's expression wasn't fake, felt somewhat puzzled. In the competition of the demon path, it's very brutal, like a pride of lions. If an old lion king is weak and aging, then a strong male lion would definitely challenge and seize the position of lion king. In the demon sect, it often follows this path, and Zhang Junwei knew his strength was already far inferior to Su Jie. So proactively stepping down to let the capable lead was the best way, but he didn't expect Su Jie was unwilling. Sect Master, please don't persuade further. Give it 3 years. After 3 years, I will take the position of Sect Master. For now, I ask you to continue managing Ghost Ridge Palace for a while. Su Jie shook his head, refusing, as he planned to return to Blue Star for a while. Especially for building wonders and so on, it required his personal involvement. If he accepted the position of Ghost Ridge Palace Sect Master, it would certainly consume a lot of his time and energy at the start. Zhang Junwei persuaded a few more times, seeing Su Jie's firm attitude, could only nod and agree, fine. Let's set a 3-year agreement first. Thank you for your understanding, Sect Master. After 3 years, I will certainly develop and strengthen Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie cupped his fists, with the position of Ghost Ridge Palace Sect Master almost in hand. Su Jie also needed to prepare and return to Blue Star once. Thank you for your understanding, Sect Master. After 3 years, I will certainly develop and strengthen Ghost Ridge Palace. Su Jie cupped his fists, with the position of Ghost Ridge Palace Sect Master almost in hand. Su Jie also needed to prepare and return to Blue Star once. Su Jie never forgot his roots are on Blue Star. March 12, 2030, weekend. On the streets of Monday City, Blue Star. A tall woman in a white dress with high beauty is holding a phone and doing an outdoor live stream. Today I will take everyone to a good place. You can guess where it is and leave your guesses in the comments. Facing the phone, Shun Xueqing spoke. Originally, she was a horror game streamer from Hua Country. And because she always remained expressionless while playing horror games, she earned the nickname Sister Calm. Later, because Nightmare Park developed by Jekka Group emphasized realism, immersive and thrilling experiences, it attracted a large number of tourists. Shun Xueqing herself, due to her outstanding performance in Nightmare Park, became the highest ranked in points, the one who cleared Ghost House the most, and also the only person to have ever completed the Nightmare level Ghost House, becoming a super gamer. This attracted a huge following for her, with over 30 million fans online. Since Nightmare Park is only available in Southeast Asia, Shun Xueqing has been residing there for a long time. Besides horror game streaming and editing videos of clearing stages in Nightmare Park, she does outdoor live streams on weekends. The massive fan base, coupled with good streaming effects, keeps her live audience consistently above 100,000 viewers. On the Douyin streaming platform, right after Shun Xueqing spoke, the comments refreshed rapidly. Are you going to visit the Kunping rocket launch base? There's a Kunping rocket launch scheduled today. I want to see the big rocket. Forget the rocket, visiting Nightmare Park is more fun. I love watching those foreigners get scared out of their wits. In my opinion, going to the beach is the way to go. Sand and bikini beauties are the real deal. There were all sorts of comments, and Shun Xueqing smiled, walking casually on the street while educating everyone about Monday City. Pointing at a cylinder-shaped building, Shun Xueqing smiled and said, "Look at this building. This is the Monday Financial Trading Center building, where the famous blood gold trading futures take place. The trading volume of blood gold here ranks just behind Forex, precious metals, and crude oil. It's one of the hottest futures products in the world today, attracting many speculators to participate." As she spoke, Shun Xueqing walked into the Monday Financial Trading Center building. The hall here is spacious and bright, with staff in suits busy behind the counter windows, and the hanging LCD screens are refreshing various futures real-time information, attracting many to stop and engage in discussions. Since the emergence of the blood gold industry, every year Jekka Group spends lavishly, purchasing blood worth nearly $1 trillion from around the world. This industry is referred to as the blood gold industry, with various blood donation groups, cross-border blood companies, dignitaries and gangs, transporters and intermediaries all being involved. From the developed beautiful country to the impoverished third world countries, the figures of blood gold practitioners are seen globally, with a population coverage calculated in billions. To provide a direct comparison, the global oil production is 75.4 million barrels per day, with the per barrel futures price fluctuating around $73, resulting in an annual global oil output of about $2 trillion. The annual procurement price of the blood gold industry is equivalent to half the total price of annual global oil production. Imagine how many wars and profit disputes oil has generated worldwide. Now, with the sudden emergence of the blood gold industry, there's as much crime and profit entangled with this giant tree. Each decimal fluctuation in blood gold futures here, or when JECA Group tightens or increases blood procurement, can cause countless people around the world to go bankrupt or become wealthy overnight. JECA Group, due to its own needs, forcibly gave rise to a massive futures market enough to influence the world order, attracting a large influx of hot money. Sister Com thinks too highly of us. We can't even qualify to participate in such big transactions like blood gold futures. With only 20 cents in my pocket, I can't understand these high-end things at all. Anyway, JECA Group is rich and awesome, over $1 per milliliter of fresh blood. Even I want to donate blood. After briefly touring the Monde Financial Trading Center building, Shun Xueqing left and continued her activities, introducing the local conditions and customs. Along the way, you can see construction sites and roads being expanded and built everywhere in Monde City. Today's Monde City is no longer the rundown small town of a few 100,000 people before JECA Group took over. The total resident population here has already exceeded the 8 million mark, and the huge population gathering has increased the city's construction demands daily, turning the entire Monde City into a super construction site. Construction companies from around the world are seen here, but the majority are still workers wearing clothes with Chinese characters from certain construction companies, working enthusiastically. Have you guys noticed there are so many Chinese here? The comments refreshed on the phone, and seeing this, Shun Xueqing explained, "That's normal. According to the official data released by JECA Group, the number of Chinese working in Monde City has already exceeded the 600,000 mark. After all, Monde City is the birthplace of JECA Group, and there are many opportunities for development and entrepreneurship, attracting many young people with dreams to come to this city to develop and build. Our Hua country is very close to here, drawing a lot of people over to work and settle." Shun Xueqing walked and stopped, and when she arrived at the entrance of a construction site, she suddenly noticed a platform had been erected. There are police officers maintaining order, and many people are gathered around, many of whom are wearing worker clothes, safety helmets, and look very indignant. A few seemingly wealthy men and women were brought onto the high platform, bound to racks by the police. Hit them, beat them hard. Who cares? That's our hard-earned money. We mustn't let them off. Dare to act high and mighty here. This is your end. The workers on site grew more excited and fervent, waving their fists and stretching their necks to watch the high platform. Because many workers are Chinese, Shun Xueqing and the audience could understand. "Brother, what's going on?" At the audience's request, Shun Xueqing found a tanned worker and asked about the situation. I'm from Hua country, working here. Heard that wages are high here for workers. But being unfamiliar with the place, I found a construction company owned by our people, but who knew these rotten bastards would withhold our hard-earned wages. After working for 2 months, they didn't pay us. Under the workers' account, Shun Xueqing understood. Because of wage arrears, someone complained to a subsidiary of JECA Group. Then these bosses and executives had bad luck. Their usual tricks didn't work, so they were pressed onto the high platform. Shun Xueqing wanted to laugh a bit, couldn't help but mock internally. Haven't these bosses heard how JECA Group rose to power? JECA Group became the dominant force in Southeast Asia through extremely ruthless means. Employees working at JECA Group have very generous benefits, all kinds of welfare, 4 days work, 3 days off, number 996-007, all voluntary overtime. Under JECA Group's influence and the implementation of strict regulations, the entire Southeast Asia's atmosphere tends to align with JECA Group. These bosses trying to cause such chaos under JECA Group's rule, in JECA Group's base Monde City, is simply short-sighted. Mercy. I'm willing to pay wages, willing to compensate, whatever it takes. The boss on the platform finally felt fear, but it was already too late. The police did a simple warm-up, then picked up the whip. The whip was specially made, a 1.2-meter-long cane, soaked in water the day before execution to increase its flexibility for double the pain. After everything was ready, a tall, robust policeman stood behind the boss, swung the whip several times, producing cracking sounds in the air. The next moment, after warming up, the policeman swung hard. The whip lashed onto the construction company's boss. Instantly, the skin where the whip landed first whitened, then became bruised, blood began to seep, the flesh split. Ow! The whipped boss let out an extremely painful scream, his body shook. Smack! Without waiting for the screams to stop, the second lash again whipped down, making the flesh blurred with blood. Then came the third lash. The boss's face turned pale without any blood, the entire person in unbearable pain, feeling as if the soul left the body, twisted into a painful mess. Living in luxury, he never tasted this inhuman pain, simply and abruptly fainted. The convict fainted. Send him to prison. After he recovers, administer the remaining 9 lashes. The medical staff with the team examined briefly, communicated swiftly with the leading officer, and took the fainted boss away. At Jekka Group, the flogging can be enjoyed in installments. If not finished this time, wait for the convict to recover and continue until completed. Otherwise, forcibly administering can lead to a regular person unable to withstand too many lashes, potentially becoming permanently disabled or dying from shock on sight. Other executives and shareholders of the construction company trembled with fear. Someone wet their pants, desperately begging the police present, but to no avail. You're not sorry for knowing your mistake, just regretting getting caught. The officer sneered. You can't escape the flogging. You must repay the withheld wages. The penalty must be paid, all supervised by us. Well said. Beat these bastards to death. Serve them right. Hit hard, beat hard. Otherwise it won't satisfy us. Bully us honest folks. Someone can always deal with you. The workers watching below cheered, each flushed with excitement, shouting loudly. In this lively atmosphere, one whip after another fell. Every lash falling had someone's flesh splitting, screams echoing. When all convicts were punished, bank staff arrived in armored vehicles, taking Dragon Coin cash to pay the construction company's owed wages. The construction company had already been seized by Jekka Group days ago, collecting evidence, assessing assets, settling debts. The whole process was very practiced, as countless such confiscations happened during Jekka Group's rise. Many nobles and merchants fell under Jekka Group's blade, naturally experienced, having developed a complete set of rules and procedures. The entire scene was witnessed by Shin Shueching, who turned and left, glanced at the live broadcast screen, which had already been flooded. So cool. I understand why so many people work in Monday City. Jekka Group is indeed ruthless. Doesn't indulge these capitalists one bit. Upstairs, how do you think Jekka Group got famous? Their mud truck business warfare never indulged capitalists. Anyone who read Jekka Group's history knows they rose from Monday City, immediately eliminating Monday City's warlords and many criminal companies. No capital can surpass Jekka Group because they are the largest capital. Shin Shueching watched the increasingly dangerous screen. The super admin already warned, quickly coughed, changed the subject. Attention everyone, our destination today is right ahead. Follow my camera. Ding ding ding, it's here, Jekka Group headquarters building. Pointing at a towering building ahead, the audience was quite familiar. The hundreds-meter-tall building, the Jekka Group headquarters building, its fame grew exponentially as Jekka Group became Southeast Asia's undisputed leader, becoming an iconic structure in Southeast Asia. At this time, the vast ground in front of the Jekka Group headquarters building had gathered numerous luxury cars. Men and women of extraordinary demeanor appeared in the live broadcast. Wow! Isn't that Wanda Group's chairman Wang Lin? Why did Apple CEO come? Their Europe and America leading companies dare to approach Jekka Group? That's the former world's richest. Musk from the Space Technology Exploration Company? Aren't they competitors with Jekka Group in space? Yet they came. That one's even more heavyweight. Siam King Baya is here. Russia's chief diplomat, Og Douglas. Exclamations filled the screen. Shen Xueqing smirked, prepared to speak, then saw a convoy approaching from afar. First, several crisply moving, cold-eyed genetic warriors disembarked, wearing second-generation biological armor, once appearing, an invisible pressure enveloped. Everyone knew these genetic warriors were terrifying entities, having executed over 100 beheadings, killings. Next, a man and woman also stepped down, none other than Southeast Asia's real rulers, Su Jie, and the second-in-command Liu Yingying. President Su, hello? The big figures present, upon seeing Su Jie, each immediately plastered enthusiastic smiles and flocked. No matter their status, everyone lowered their heads before Su Jie. Shen Xueqing lowered her voice, introduced softly, Jekka Group reportedly planned big moves today, prepared a press conference. I'm honored to be invited, to be today's guest. Sister Com is impressive, even showed face here. Quickly go find President Su for a photo. You can pass this down in the family. Seeing Su Jie, I can only say one thing. A real man should be like this. This should count as the highest achievement by a Chinese overseas. Domestic company bosses are too weak. Why not talk about replacing him? My brain hasn't turned mushy. How to replace him? Su Jie, President Su's skills, if it were me, I'd be caught by local warlords and made a piglet long ago, nowhere to become Southeast Asia's ruler. In the heated discussion on the screen, Shen Xueqing began moving towards Jekka Group headquarters building, led by staff. Jekka Group headquarters building, within the press conference hall. Shen Xueqing sat at the back, looking at all the big figures, as well as media journalists from around the world. In such high-end settings, she, as an internet celebrity, felt somewhat uncomfortable, but more than that, she was excited and proud, very grateful to Jekka Group for inviting her to broadcast this conference live. This press conference was open to multiple media sources, and Jekka Group's official website was also streaming it live, attracting a large audience from around the world. Since its founding, Jekka Group has launched various products, each of which is incredibly astonishing. Now, Jekka Group is once again hosting a new product launch. Everyone wants to see as soon as possible what new and interesting things Jekka Group has come up with again, and whether it's useful to them. After simple preparations, the lights on the stage of the conference lit up, and a male and female host appeared. As for Su Jie and Liu Yingying, they were still sitting in the front rows. In such a scenario, there was no need for them to go up to introduce the product. Good afternoon, everyone. Dear guests, welcome to the venue of Jekka Group's press conference. Today, our Jekka Group will be launching a heavyweight product that will absolutely not disappoint everyone. The male host held the microphone, wearing a gentle smile. With President Su's earnest support, this product has been successfully developed, possessing disruptive innovation for the world, and it is bound to shine globally. The female host also held a microphone, coordinating with the male host. Finally, the two looked at each other and spoke in unison. Ladies and gentlemen, please look. This is the product of our press conference today, the ultra-high-energy biological battery. In front of them, a podium rose from the ground, displaying a battery panel on top. On the large screen behind them, high-resolution images about the ultra-high-energy biological battery also appeared. Seeing the introduction of this product, many in the audience had question marks popping up in their heads. It is well known that Jekka Group is famous for its pharmaceutical products. Their biotechnology is world-leading, even capable of creating genetic warriors. Many thought that the product Jekka Group would launch today should be a special cure for some disease. However, reality was shocking. Jekka Group didn't play the pharmaceuticals but turned to energy. The only difference was with technology giant companies from various countries present at the site. They sat up straight, their eyes fervently watching the stage. It had been a week since they received test data on the ultra-high-energy biological battery sent by Jekka Group, and they were invited to participate in this news conference. That test data was extremely outrageous, already surpassing the latest battery data in the energy battery field, including those unable to be mass-produced in laboratories globally. Although somewhat skeptical of such test data from ultra-high-energy biological batteries, if it was data thrown out by other companies, these technology giants would have already tossed it into the trash. But considering that this product hails from JECA Group, there was some credence to be believed. After all, discussing technological prowess, various pharmaceutical products, including Genetic Warriors, Spider Main Battle Mecha, Devourer-class cruiser, and Kunpeng rocket, all prove JECA Group's unique expertise and advantage in technology. The male host smiled and said, "Now allow me to introduce this destined to change the world ultra-high-energy biological battery. Let's first look at the data." Amidst the flash of magnesium lights on site, that pitch-black biological battery became the focal point of everyone's attention. This biological battery adopts the JECA Group's latest organic combination of battery and biotechnology. This battery's energy density is as high as 1200 Wh/kg, which is 4 to 5 times the current similar lithium iron phosphate batteries and ternary lithium batteries. At the same time, the product's cycle charging times, charging speed, safety coefficient, environmental friendliness, all far exceed the current global energy batteries. The host constantly narrated each piece of data on the biological battery, and behind him on the large screen, there were introductions about the biological battery. The audience, who had some understanding of batteries, one by one, opened their mouths wide in amazement, staring stupefied at the data of the so-called ultra-high-energy biological battery, their first reaction in their minds being that JECA Group must be falsifying. It's well known that the current mainstream lithium iron phosphate battery's energy density is below 200 Wh/kg, and ternary lithium batteries have an energy density between 200-300 Wh/kg. The so-called graphene battery has an energy density of just 400-500 Wh/kg, but today graphene batteries are still at the laboratory stage, fundamentally lacking the possibility of industrial production. And JECA Group's ultra-high-energy biological battery, suddenly elevating the current battery energy density 4 to 5 times, is such an exaggerated data. Below, Su Jie revealed a faint smile. This ultra-high-energy biological battery is naturally his handiwork, a byproduct from the research process of the Puppet Hall. Originally, to better facilitate Puppet Hall's research, Su Jie brought a lot of modern Blue Star technology to Puppet Hall, including various batteries. Later, unexpectedly during one of Su Jie's inspections in Puppet Hall, he discovered Zhu Zhangqi, the senior disciple of Puppet Hall, managed to create a semi-automated production line. Zhu Zhangqi learned from the technological knowledge brought by Su Jie, including production line and industrial production, which opened a brand new world for Zhu Zhangqi. Thus, he pondered himself, gathered the wisdom of Puppet Hall disciples, everyone contributed collectively, creating a semi-automated production line, and even produced some roughly made puppets to join in production, significantly increasing production speed.